It's 100 in the shade with the sun beating down. Forecast calling for some more of the same. Well, I can't fix that, but I can fix a drain. I turn on Fox News and then CNN, but it's the same dang thing all over again. The world's in the toilet and the market's in the tank. Well, I can't fix that. No, but I can fix a drink, pour it on ice, mix it on up and get you feeling right. I can get you buzzed, I can get you smiling, I can make you feel like you're sitting on an island. I can make it fruity, or I can make it strong. All you gotta do is...
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week, or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. We've already given out more than $75,000 to students in North Dakota this year. Let us help you become the next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
You live life on the move. While you determine what direction that may be, we're here to help along the way. So go. Go with values. Go with friends. Go with support. Go with convenience.
Some Mountain Dew, Malibu, Cuervo, Coke in a cup. Brother, I can hook you up. I can fix a drink, pour it on ice, mix it on up and get you feeling right. I can get you buzzed, I can get you smiling, I can make you feel like you're sitting on an island. I can make it fruity, or I can make it strong. All you gotta do is tell me what you want. Put it to your lips, take a little sip, tell me what you think. Yeah, I can fix a drink. Yeah, I can fix a drink.
This is Ross Powell with Remax Now, and you're listening to KOVC 1490.
He brought to life the deep blue of the ocean against a morning sky. I asked him if he only painted ocean scenes. He said for $20 I'll paint you anything. Could you paint me a Birmingham? Make it look just the way I planned. A little house on the edge of town, porch going all the way around. If you could paint me a Birmingham, oh, paint me a Birmingham.
This is 1490 KOVC AM Valley City and 96.3 K242CZ Valley City.
The voice of the Valley.
It's time for Vikings football here on KOVC. Vikings football is brought to you by Dairy Queen, Remax Now, Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, Bank Forward, CHI Mercy Health of Valley City, Brothers 3, Smith Lumber, Levers Foods, Valley City State University, LaRue Lockout Financial, Valley Meat Supply, Grotberg Electric, Ivy Real Estate Group, Professional Eye Care Center, Highline Electric, Jamestown Regional Medical Center, Rambo, and Sanford Health in Valley City. Now let's go out to the gridiron for the Sanford Health pregame show.
Well, it's a beautiful day here today at Valley City State University. They're all good when we have a chance to take in some Viking football, but today it's going to be extra special because we have a beautiful day for weather that's upon us here today. And so if you're not here, you need to get on out here. They've got a very active tailgate going on throughout the course of the day today, and it's really going to be a superb day to enjoy this one. We didn't have this when we were here for Dickinson State a few weeks ago, and it's been a couple of weeks since we had an edition of Viking football, but we do today. Following the bye week, Valley City State begins conference play today. The North Star Athletic Association has a 6-game run, and that game run starts today against Dakota State University here at Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellig Field in Valley City. Valley City State entering today with a record of 1-3. No record in the league as of yet, and they're the only team in the league that hasn't played a league game. There are 3 teams in front of them at 1-0 apiece: Waldorf, Dickinson State, and Iowa Wesleyan. 3 teams behind them: Mayville State, Dakota State, and Presentation College. The Vikings haven't played yet because last week was the official beginning of conference play, but the Vikings had their bye week last week, and so they have an extra chance to rest up before they come into this one today. And the Vikings are back at home after a tough home loss in their last home game. It was homecoming for Valley City State. They took on Dickinson State, and they were beaten by a final score of 35-10. And later in our pregame report, you'll hear from Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings. He feels like Dickinson State is the only team that's really beaten the Vikings so far this season. They played Concordia, they played the University of Jamestown, but penalties, missed special teams plays, that type of thing, and the Vikings did as much to hurt themselves in those games as the teams that they were playing did to beat them. And so Dickinson State was the lone team that took on the Vikings in the first half of the season and just really decided to lay it in on them at that point. And that was a very, very difficult day for Valley City State fans, homecoming crowd, all of that. And at that day, when we talked with Dennis McCulloch in the post-game report, the thing he mentioned was that they still have good players. He felt like they still have talented players. They were confident in what they were doing and that they were going to get to work and fix it. Well, they came back with a win over Presentation College, and then the bye week, and something you'll hear later on in our pregame report today from Coach McCulloch, they're still preaching the same mantra here today, which is don't worry about what's gone on so far. We're going to have an opportunity to wash a lot of that stuff away, and they still believe in what they're doing here at Valley City State with Viking football this year. You'll also hear a little bit of pressure, though, from Dennis McCulloch when he says if they don't play at a high level the rest of the way, the words that he used in our pregame conversation today, they'll waste some guys because there are some guys at the end of their careers that are very, very good football players, and they need to play at a high level. And really, even though you've played a couple of conference teams already, particularly Dickinson State, it doesn't matter because of the long run, conference championships matter. The Vikings are looking to hang another banner, and that's what these next 6 weeks are going to be about, is being able to hang that banner. And the Vikings are at home for 2 weeks in a row to start conference play. Today, Dakota State, Iowa Wesleyan coming up next week. Dakota State, the team that we talked about for today, they're 0-1 in the league. They're currently 2-3 in the overall campaign. And for those of you that have been following Viking football for a while, you know exactly what Dakota State is about. They're down in Madison, South Dakota. They have access to some teams of the Great Plains Athletic Conference in their non-conference schedule. So they get tested by some teams that are very, very good before they end up playing inside the league. And usually they come into league play with a sub 500 record and then turn around and show you some things that maybe you didn't expect. They defeated Dakota Wesleyan to start the year, which is a respectable win. They played the University of Wisconsin lacrosse and were beaten 42-7. That team was ranked 12th. They played a team receiving votes in Waldorf and was beaten 42-17. Knocked off Iowa Wesleyan on the 24th of September. A 24-7 win. Was beaten by 20 by Dickinson State, 27-7. So you're looking at a comparative score that's very similar with what the Vikings had against the Blue Hawks. Today they take on Valley City State. And something else you'll hear from Coach McCulloch in our pregame report is going to be that he feels these two teams are very similar. They've dealt with injury problems. Dakota State's had 3 different quarterbacks throughout the course of the year. They're going to go back to the beginning of the season and their first quarterback today. But there's a lot of similarities between these two, and a lot of very good games between the Trojans and the Vikings have played out right here on this field. So I'm expecting a pretty competitive game between these two today. And also, not only that, but there will be some pretty good atmosphere between these two as well. There's just a lot of history between these two, even in a short amount of time. And these two teams really like to get after one another. So it should be a good atmosphere. A little bit of cloud cover today. Believe it or not, we have some kind of a sundog that's right above us right now. It's really interesting. There's sort of this circular rainbow going around the sun, even though there's not a lot of threat towards rain. It's a beautiful day. Great tailgate out there. They're still going at it strong. We expect a good crowd here today at Shelley Ellick Field in Locken Stadium. And you're here for our pregame report today. And our pregame coverage is presented by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all, here for good. Coming up on our pregame report, we'll run through the standings with Drive for the title and also take a look at some of the games that are going on today in the North Star. We'll keep you up to date with the LaRue Lockout Financial Scoreboard as well. The later start today will give us an opportunity to give you an eye on what's going on with top 25 college football and some of the college football around us that you'd like to pay attention to. So we'll update you on some of those scores also. Part 1 of our conversation with Dennis McCulloch, wiping the slate clean to get started in conference play, and then what did the team learn and what did they talk about after that Dickinson State loss. And then in part 2 of our conversation, we'll bring you the keys to the game. And when Dennis McCulloch will join us for part 2 today, we'll talk a lot about what Dakota State has in mind for the afternoon and what the Vikings are trying to do to get off the field, which has been one of the problems when they have teams in 3rd and long trying to get a stop. And Coach McCulloch will tell us that defensive pressure on the quarterback is going to be very important for the Vikings the rest of the season. Starting lineups and kickoff are on the way, scheduled for 4 o'clock this afternoon here at Shelley Ellick Field. If you're out there today, come on out and join us. We should have a really, really good crowd today. It'll be fun. If not, stay with us right here on the Voice of the Valley for continuing coverage of Valley City State University Viking football. Our pregame report presented today by Sanford Health. Here for all, here for good. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
The keys to the game are brought to you by RE/MAX Now of Valley City and Jamestown. Just as the keys to today's game offer growth, success, and opportunity for the future, so do the keys to your new property. Whether you're looking for the keys to your starter home, the keys to home where you raise your family, the keys to your business, or the keys to your lake home or retirement property, for every step of the way, RE/MAX Now of Valley City and Jamestown are here for you. Check out our website, findrealtynow.com, for pictures and virtual tours.
Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, your community Health Mart Pharmacy, is a supporter of many Valley City events and organizations. During the month of October, they'll donate $1 for every yard of fabric sold to the St. Catherine's School fundraiser. Also during the month of October, take 10% off all candles. 10% off all candles. For all your healthcare needs and prescriptions, see your trusted healthcare resource. Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, downtown Valley City. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
At Bank Forward, we focus on building relationships. Hi, I'm Kara Weep with Bank Forward in Valley City. Whether it's opening a checking account, saving for college, or starting your own business, Bank Forward is the bank big enough to help, but we're small enough to know your name. Call 845-1220 or visit bankforward.com today. Striving to be the bank that defines customer service since 1927. It's simply the Forward way. Bank Forward, member FDIC.
Now is the time, now is the time.
The CHI Mercy Health Valley City Foundation invites you to join them for an evening of fun at the Valley City Eagles Club October 21st beginning at 5:30 with a social, raffles, auction, eats with a German flair, and dueling pianos at 8 p.m. Individual tickets are $25, can be purchased online at mercyhospitalvalleycity.org under the Foundation tab or by calling CHI Mercy Health in Valley City 701-845-6400. Proceeds from this event will benefit the purchase of a new mammography machine. Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
From Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellick Field this afternoon, we welcome you back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, as the Vikings at 1-3 get set to take on 2-3 Dakota State University. Very exciting night last night that we have to acknowledge. What a great night for the Valley City High School Highlanders, the Highlander football team, with a win last night, knocking off Jamestown in a battle of number 1 versus number 2 in North Dakota. 34-6 was the final score in that matchup. You heard it right here on KOVC, and so we're looking forward to seeing what the Highlanders are going to do the rest of the way. But now you're looking at basically the sky being the limit for that Highlander football team, and that was really exciting to see play out for us last night. Thank you for joining us for that one last night. If you're back with us here again today, we get set to wrap up the sports weekend with Viking football today as the Vikings get set to go up against Dakota State University. And our pregame report is presented by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all, here for good. Let's start off our pregame report with an update on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. Again, with the later start today, we've got some college football that's already played out around us. So let's update, first of all, where we're at in the Missouri Valley Football Conference today. For those of you that might be Bison and Fighting Hawks fans out there, speaking of the Bison, boy, did they have a tough run today with Indiana State. Indiana State was up 13-10 at halftime. The Bison tried to take control of the game in the third quarter and held on for a 31-26 victory today over Indiana State. Other scores from the Missouri Valley: Southern Illinois leads Missouri State 17-14 in the second quarter. Battle of the two teams in South Dakota. South Dakota State with a 14-3 lead over USD. That game is currently at halftime. Two games set to start later on tonight at 5 o'clock. North Dakota's at Youngstown State, and Illinois State will take on Northern Iowa tonight. That will be at 4. So those are the scores coming in from the Missouri Valley Football Conference today. Now, let's talk about what's going on in top 25 college football, as we're seeing some pretty good games play out inside the top 25 rankings out there today also. And we'll see what kind of mayhem college football can play in on us throughout the day. In the second quarter, number 2 Georgia leads Auburn 14-0. Oklahoma State leading Texas Tech 17-14 early in the second quarter. UCLA is up on Utah. That's number 18 over number 11, 14-3. That game halfway through the second quarter. Ohio State leading Michigan State 14-7. Game late in the first. Vandy has a lead on Ole Miss. That's 10-3 in that game currently in the second quarter of play as well. And Washington leading Arizona State by a score of 7-3. Some finals that are in. Michigan, no problem with Indiana today, 31-10. Tennessee defeats LSU 40-13. TCU with a win over Kansas today. It's going to have the Jayhawks their first loss, 38-21. And Mississippi State upends Arkansas in an upset by the final score of 40-17. And that's a complete update with LaRue Lockout Financial. More on those scores as we continue throughout the course of the day. It's time for part 1 of our coaches conversation here in our pregame report presented by Sanford Health, here for all, here for good. And Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings, joining us for our coaches conversation today. We began by talking about where the team is coming out of non-conference play. It's 1-3. There's plenty of story there after 4 games. No more of this one game outside the league and then we go. No, nowadays you've got a pretty good narrative that's been told after 4 non-conference games. Coach McCulloch seemed to concentrate on the idea that, you know what, everything's still in front of the team, and now you can whitewash what's happened with those 1-3 games.
You know, the piece that we look back at is, and, you know, I kind of talked to our guys about this, is like you played those 4 games, those non-conference games, and, you know, what did we learn? What, you know, things that we learned and we have to improve on, and things that we see and we're struggling with. And we can say, we can look back at the losses and go, oh, we would have, should have did this, or we you know, we should be 3-1. And, you know, right now it's about proving it. You know, it's like you can talk about all that stuff. Now you got a great opportunity to move forward and put that stuff behind us. And what have we done to develop and change, right, as what we're doing. And I think one of those spots is definitely Noah Chambers. Is like Noah as a true freshman to come in. He, you know, try to pick up all the system, all the stuff that we're doing, and be thrown into the fire right away. It's very challenging, and I think every week he gets to run the offense and have that behind, I think, is a positive and helps him continue to grow. So hopefully we'll see steps that way. I think continue to ask him not to make freshmen. We try to eliminate those kinds of things and as much as we can. And so us relying on our running game and physical offensive line, and those are the things that are going to be important to us to help offensively us to be successful. So those are things we continue to work on and improve, and defensively and on both sides, it's some penalty things that we can continue to talk about. We have to eliminate.
Coach, you had really one opponent in the non-conference season that beat you. You could say those first two, you maybe kind of beat yourself. But Dickinson State came here and did their thing. You had a game after that you got to win in with presentation, and then a bye week. So really, you've had a couple of weeks, maybe even 3, to sort of break down that Dickinson State game and sort of try to respond from it. Can you talk to us about the last few weeks and how you kind of put that in motion?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, ultimately when you go out and you play good and Dickinson comes to your town and beats you, and I thought they played very, very well, and you hand it to them. I wouldn't go back and go, oh, we gave them a bunch of stuff, and so I think after that moment in time, our kids, reality, and you see where we're at. We still have good quality players, and I really just remind our guys that be confident in yourself and what you've done to bring yourself to this this point, and we have talented players. Like I'll be very depressed if we don't do play at a high level the rest of the way out here, because we're going to waste some really good talented young men that are going to be we know are at their end of their career and the things that they're doing. So I continue to remind us that we're a good football team. You're 1-3, but that doesn't reflect on the things where I think you can be in the level we can play at, and that's where I talk about proving it. We have to go out and do that today and show that level of play. It doesn't mean that it won't be a close game. It doesn't mean how it's going to come out, but if all we can control is the effort and the energy that we play at, and we play our best today. Those are the things that we're looking for.
Dennis McCulloch, part one of our conversation today with the head coach of Valley City State University Viking football. We're joined in our broadcast today for color commentary and analysis by Corey Anderson from Valley City State, longtime offensive coordinator that worked with Dennis McCulloch here for a good many years and some conference championships. And, Corey, let me ask you first. Dennis, they're concentrating on the fact that they're still a good football team, and they're 1-3, but that record doesn't reflect who they are. Back in the day, you played one non-conference game and then you rolled. Now you've got this non-conference thing where there's 4 games and kind of a story that's told there. So is it different to try to convince guys mid-season you're still there than when you just got the old one-game show and go in the non-conference play?
It's definitely a task. I mean, we're looking at this season right now, we're 0-0. I mean, everybody's starting off in the same position. The difference is in NAIA football is that it's not an automatic qualifier if you win your conference,
right.
Regular season. The other sports, yes. Football, no. And so, your body of work before you get to this point is important. But now we're at the situation where, hey, let's go ahead and just do what we're going to do. And let's try and win a conference championship. And that's one of our goals that we have. So we can still execute those things. And really, at this point, that's what we have to hang on to.
Yeah, and that's all you can do is try to win 6 straight games, go 6-0, don't share the conference championship with anybody, and see if the voters put you in the top 20, because that's the magic number, right? Top 20 in a conference title.
It is, and it's been a long time since that's happened. In fact, the irony of this is that the last time that I did color for a game was 1990. Mayville State won the conference. Last time they won the conference, 1990.
Okay.
On this field, Valley City beat them, and they did not go to the national playoffs because of that loss.
Okay, all right. So hung one on Mayville State that kept them out of the playoffs, and we're resurrecting a career that was last seen 32 years ago. Okay. Well, there's some numbers here to talk about. Thank you for being here, by the way, today, Corey. You had a great tailgate downstairs.
Yeah, we did. We've got great support. On the field right now is just part of the Oarsman Club, and those guys are responsible for like $75,000 of fundraising for Viking football. I mean, that's a big number. Those are all alumni and friends of the football program, and it's just continued to grow every year, and we're really proud of that group and what they do.
Part two of our coaches conversation is on the way with Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings. We'll talk a bit today about this forever long mystery that is Dakota State. You just never really know the way they play in their non-conference season, what they're like when they finally get here, and then also run through what it's going to take today. One of the big keys, according to Coach McCulloch, no quarterback can have time, so they've got to find a way to put pressure on passers. He felt that was one of the real problems against Dickinson State a few weeks ago during homecoming. We'll talk about that. We'll give you our keys to the game, brought to you by RE/MAX. So that's coming up as well. And our Sanford Health pregame report, here for all, here for good. It's the Vikings and Dakota State University today. The Trojans right here on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, with Viking football continuing coming up next.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the Voice of the Valley.
Brothers 3 has the area's widest variety of classic and new fishing tackle at the lowest prices to give you the edge this year. Before heading out on the water, stop in and get your live bait and tackle and fill your tank on the highest quality gas and diesel. Brothers 3 is your locally owned and operated convenience store. As always, Brothers 3 has the lowest prices in town on everything from snacks and drinks to gear, propane, and automotive supplies. Remember, it pays to shop at Brothers 3.
The book is here. The Smith Lumber Home Center Fall Merchandise Book is here for your shopping convenience. All kinds of items to get you ready for fall and winter. Lawn and garden, tools, automotive, building materials, electrical and heating, plumbing, paint, and more. Pick one up today and register to win one of 2 $500 shopping giveaways. The newly expanded Smith Lumber Home Center on East Main, Valley City. And coming soon, an all-new greenhouse in time for the holidays.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right. Lever's Foods.
It's an Our Family stock-up sale at Lever's Foods. Get Our Family butter, $3.89. Our Family frozen veggies, 97 cents. Our Family granulated sugar, $1.99. Our Family flour, 5-pound bag, $2.15. Our Family chicken noodle or tomato soup, 79 cents. Delivery available. Call 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
This is Hannah Wieland, a freshman at Valley City State University. The V500 scholarship members' generosity and commitment is exactly the kind of community involvement we need to keep VCSU going strong. The many scholarships provided are a testament to the support of the alumni, family, and friends of VCSU. Please keep expanding the opportunities available to enhance the lives of the next generation and make a difference for attracting future Vikings by supporting scholarships online at give.vcsu.edu or by calling the VCSU Foundation.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Lockout Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockout, CPA, at 845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC.
Ready for some football? Make sure you include quality meats and snacks from Valley Meat Supply. Valley Meat has all your favorites for the grill. Thick, juicy steaks, burger patties, brats, and all beef wieners. Valley Meat has you covered during the hunting and harvest season with sandwich meats and a variety of cheeses, beef sticks, and jerky. If you're tailgating, hunting, or harvesting, make it Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Our national anthem concludes today. National anthem performed today by the Valley City State University Pep Band. Good to have them along with us here today as we get ready for the captains to meet at center field for this matchup for Viking football as the Vikings get set to take on Dakota State University today. Valley City State coming into the matchup 1-3 and Dakota State currently 2-3. Part two of our coaches conversation on our Sanford Health pregame report brought to you by Sanford Health. Here for good and here for all. Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings, we asked him specifically about this mystery that Dakota State can be. They're sometimes coming in with a sub-500 record, but very good non-conference competition, and you find out they're better than advertised when they come on this field, and there's a lot of history between these two teams to talk about. The latest from Dennis McCulloch in part 2 of our conversation.
And I think they're pretty similar to us. I mean, when you look at last year's, games that we played them, they beat us down there, and then we came up here and beat them at home. But they have some good pieces. Their defense is very solid. I think their defensive front is very good. That they'll give us some challenges. We're going to have to meet that physicality up front and to be successful. And I think their corners are very good. So they have good pieces. Offensively, I think. They're kind of rolled through 3 quarterbacks, and I think that may be similar. I think it's kind of hard to get that feel for them because they've kind of went into one game. Hey, we're going to run the ball and we're going to establish this. And we've seen some games where they're trying to throw the ball a little bit more. And so I think they're going to come in with good balance today. They start they're what they started the year with. They're starting quarterback. Number 8, and he's a quality kid, and so I think that'll give us some challenge. I think that'll help them become more balanced offensively. Good running backs. I think their offensive line's physical. We're going to match up with them, and we'll find out today how well we do it.
When Dickinson State was here, you didn't really let them run the ball either. It was just a problem of getting off the field on 3rd down. So talk to us about that and, what you've done to sort of shore up maybe that passing game or at least some defense against it. Or are there answers at this point, Coach?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when I go back and look at some of that stuff, they made some great plays and they made some great throws and made good decisions and didn't make any mistakes. And even though we're in good coverage sometimes, we just didn't get that point. And we didn't rattle them at all. We couldn't get any kind of pass rush to a point where it really caused him any issues to get the ball out quick or, create some issues that way. We know, like on the back end, like we have to get pressure up front for us to be helped in the back end. We're not shut down. We're not straight man, play press in your face. That's not the kind of kids I have back there. Like, we need to play zone and some combo stuff and some change-up things so to help us. And so if they get a ton of time, if they get time to throw the football and establish that stuff, it makes it very challenging on us. So we have to find ways to get pressure. And, with our front 4 guys or maybe bring somebody or whatever that piece is or pursuing pressure to get that ball out, and that's going to be important to us to be successful.
Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings, joining us here for part 2 of our conversation, and that takes us into our keys to the game today, which are brought to you by Remax Now of Valley City and Jamestown. And Corey, it's pretty simple. 2 big ones here in the keys to the game. Coach McCulloch just talked about one, pressure on the quarterback. You can't cover people forever, no matter how good your defensive backs are. You have to at least affect the passer a little bit, and that was a big problem against Dickinson State. Number 2, even though Noah Chambers has come a long way, he's still a freshman quarterback. Got to take some pressure off of him by running the football effectively to get started today.
We need to see Riley Gerhardt appear again like he has in the past. I mean, he was a big factor when they had success the first 2 games and got neutralized a little bit by the things that Dickinson was doing. And Noah, he's played a little bit, but it's his first conference game also. And so that first time through things, you need to do what you can to get him some easy passes and see if he can get off on the right foot.
The Vikings won the toss and have elected to defer. They'll move from our right to left. They'll move towards the east goal, and they will kick the football to get started today. So we'll see the Vikings putting their defense on the field first. That'll be an interesting test right away for the Vikings. Masila Siwa will kick the football away. One man is back deep to return the kick for Dakota State, and I believe it's going to be Jay Skogerbo that's back at around the 5. It will be somewhat difficult to see their numbers today because it looks like they've got white numbers or silver numbers on powder blue uniforms. I thought that stuff was illegal, but apparently not. And the ball will actually go through the hands of Tamarin Foster through the end zone. It'll be a touchback for Dakota State. When was the clearly contrasting number rule supposed to happen in college football?
I'm going to tell you the former commissioner must have done a poor job because that was one of the things that bothered him a lot was not being able to see the contrast in numbers.
Sure.
And this little trim around the outside, I guess, is contrast. And
Yeah, well, closed circuit to anybody that can affect that, it's not clearly contrasting. We just thought we'd throw that out there. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens here with Dakota State, who's on the field in true powder blue, like Carolina blue uniforms today and white numbers. They'll have a single receiver to the left on 1st down and 10. Give the football to Tice Ortman, who tries off right tackle. He'll get maybe to around the 28 for a gain of 3. Riley Gerhardt in on part of the stop for the Vikings. They're going to get some help from Jahidi West, middle linebacker for the Vikings. It'll be 2nd down and 7, and Dakota State's not going to huddle. And we are looking to see who the quarterback is because there's a bit of a mystery there. Coach McCulloch told us it would be Zach Brooks today, but they're actually listing Cameron McKeon as their starting quarterback this afternoon. 2nd down and 7, another turn, and Ortman trying a stretch play right. He'll have near 1st down yardage ahead to the 35-yard line before he's brought down. Gain of around 7 on that play. And the tackle for the Vikings will be by Paco Baltazar out of the backfield. It looks like they're actually playing number 9 at quarterback. No, that's a tight end. Let's see who the quarterback is. It's a mystery right now. Is it number 2? All right, so number 2 is going to be Aiden Jungers, who is a freshman out of Hazen, North Dakota, if he's number 2. Now, Cameron McKeon was listed as the starter, who may be number 3. And so we'll have to kind of pencil that in for Dakota State. But it was a 1st down after a gain of 7. Toss to Ortman trying to stretch towards the left side. This time he's tripped up in the backfield for a loss. We'll go down back at around the 34. And we're seeing it is Zach Brooks that's playing the quarterback spot, according to Corey Anderson. So thank you, Corey. We had to guess through the quarterback rotation because, again, the tricky numbers, but it's going to be Zach Brooks. So Brooks was the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. They played 3, and Cameron McKeon was listed as the starter. So this team is probably in a little bit of quarterback distress, you could probably say. And a loss of a couple of yards, maybe just 1 on that play for Ortman. And here comes 2nd down, and they've got a man stopped in the backfield. A host of men trying to keep things moving so it's not a negative play, and maybe up for a 1-yard gain. That's going to be I believe it's Mangio that comes up with a stop for the Vikings, and they're going to stop him back at the 34 for no gain. Good pressure right away, Corey, to get inside.
Yeah, he definitely had ran his gap there, and he was in the backfield and almost took the handoff before the running back did.
So here's 3rd down and 11 for Dakota State. Clock at 12:45 to play opening quarter. We have no score on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard, and the Vikings with their first chance to get their defense off the field today, and they show blitz at a couple of positions up on the defensive line. Quarterback Brooks under center takes the snap, turns, looks to give it away. Ortman backfield, nowhere to go. Maybe a yard up to the 35, but nowhere near. Riley Gerhardt, the man that you singled out, comes up with a stop. Boy, that's rather telling for the Trojans to run the football on 3rd down and 11.
Yeah, and I think the Vikings knew something a little bit about that probably coming because you saw both linebackers up on the line of scrimmage in a blitz mode, and they didn't drop out right away, but they didn't blitz. They looked like they were key and draw or screen on that situation, and they happened to be right.
So we'll see a Dakota State University punt. The returner for the Vikings in punt return is Taylor Simmons. He stands back at around the 30. Kick is a line drive wobbler to the far side of the football field and goes out of bounds. The Vikings will have good field position somewhere around the 45. As we take a look at our Vikings starting lineup for today, it's brought to you by CHI Mercy Health. Hello, human kindness. For the Vikings this afternoon, the center is Joe Salas. The guards are Jacob Romero and Cade Queen. The tackles are Sammy Trejo and Troy Dietz. The wide receivers, Justin Cruz, Jacob Gottenberg, and Ferris Amegamplay. The tight end is Trent Finney. The running back is Justice Bice, and Noah Chambers will start at quarterback this afternoon for the Vikings.
And I think actually Troy Dietz is going to be out this game. I saw him earlier, and he was in street clothes on the sideline, so he will not be playing at offensive tackle.
All right, so we'll look for a replacement there at the right tackle position for the Vikings. Chambers on 1st down throws, and it's incomplete. It was intended for the backup tight end, Will Fall, and ends up falling incomplete on the near side of the field. I know that the family of Noah Chambers is in town. They stopped by the station yesterday. They came down from Alaska and just wanted to introduce themselves. The ball will be at the 49 for the Vikings to start their field position, and it's Jacob Romero that's moved out to the tackle position. So what we have is a new guard, and it looks like the new guard may be Jonathan Endeman, a freshman out of Hawaii. Second down and 10 for the Vikings from the 49. Give us to Bice, working right side. Found a hole off right tackle, stretching outside the numbers across the Dakota State 45 to the 44. A gain of around 7 for Valley City State. Third down and 3. Good run play in the first time running the football today.
It was, and actually the first pass they dialed up there was a good opportunity too, and I think it would have been a little bit of those. It's probably a little bit hot for the distance of the pass. I mean, it was a little bit too much velocity on that for the tight end. Looking into the sun a little bit here. But convertible down in distance is all we can ask for on third down.
Third down and 3. A pair of receivers come to the left side of the field. Lone man to the right, and Noah Chambers will be out of the pistol, pointing out signals. Looks like 5 defensive backs on the field for Dakota State. Bice will motion out of the backfield, becomes a 4th receiver right side, empty backfield behind Noah Chambers, who steps up, and he's going to run. He's got a hole, has the first down, cuts back over the middle, the 40, the 35. He'll take a spin right there at the 35-yard line. Pickup of 9 yards for Noah Chambers. He's got really good legs. It's deceptive speed for this freshman.
It does, and he has done a nice job running the football, and I think that was a predetermined type of quarterback draw, just how they had that dialed up. I'd like to see him take care of the ball a little bit out in traffic a little bit more. He's got it out there a little bit, and hopefully we get that dialed in.
First down and 10 for the Vikings from the Dakota State 35. It's the opening drive of the football game for Valley City State. Betty Dahlman is our contestant from Lever's Foods today. The Vikings put one in the house here. She's got a $25 gift card coming her way. Chambers will give it to Bice, trying to stretch left, head down, just burrows forward. Got what he could, which is about the 33, maybe a couple of yards on the near side of the field before he's brought down. Mason Lloyd out of the secondary for Dakota State was there on the stop, and Cody Brown up on the defensive line got out there as well.
We're at that part of the field anytime we get inside the 35, I think as an offensive coordinator, we're always wondering, okay, are we in 4-down territory? That will really determine a lot on what we call on third down, if we are, but we need to know those things early.
I think you probably are at this point. Obviously, conference opener and the way that the Vikings played defense and what Dakota State showed offensively on that first possession. You might think about taking that shot. Chambers design quarterback draw on second down. Head down, tries to run over a man. Got to the 31, maybe a couple of yards there as well before he's finally brought down. Dakota State will get a stop from Gustavo Bonilla, linebacker out of Phoenix, Arizona. That'll bring it down to the 31. Another 2-yard pickup for Chambers. So it's 3rd and 6 for Valley City State.
And that's a play I think we need to go back to at some point in time. It may have resulted in only a couple yards, but as they're playing what we would call an odd front there where the center and the tackles recover, the guards had the opportunity to get out on their men, didn't execute as well. Go back to that later on.
3rd down and 6, pair of receivers to the right. It'll be the running back rotation for Taylor Simmons now is in the backfield with Chambers. Simmons gets it, looks up the middle, spins ahead of the 30 to the 29. Gain of 2, conservative play call. That tells me it is 4-down territory, and perhaps the Vikings had already decided that because here comes 4th down and 4.
Yeah, I think we're at a point right now where we're going to make some adjustments and go to, 4 wide receiver set, maybe balance things out a little bit, although it looks like now we're going to go trips to one side and not be surprised if Chambers, doesn't call his own number here as well.
Austin Young, a senior out of Pequot Lakes, Minnesota, checks in as a 4th receiver for the Vikings. 4th and 4 for Valley City State from Dakota State's 29, opening drive of the game for the Vikings. Chambers wants to throw, throws underneath, and the pass is incomplete. He had targeted Young running a slant route over the middle of the football field, and Young got it in his hands but was hit immediately. Pretty good coverage by Dakota State to jar that loose, and the Vikings will turn it over on downs.
Was good coverage, and I'm not sure if he catches that. He has enough yards for the first down. It was really, really close, and I think just being aware of where we need to get to in that situation as well.
Lever's Foods opening drive sweepstakes. Betty Dahlman, she'll come up just empty today, but again, you can register at Lever's Foods. Every Highlander and Viking game, if the Highlanders or Vikings score a touchdown on their opening drive, the recipient of that drawing at Lever's Foods gets a $25 gift card. You can stop into Lever's Foods and register for your opportunity today, but the Vikings will turn it over on downs. No score, 8:16 to play opening quarter. Brooks out of the shotgun will toss to the left side. Looking to stretch the field is Tice Orthman. Orthman cuts back along the numbers and got maybe to the 31 for a gain of a couple of yards. Riley Gerhardt going way down the line to help out on that stop. A lot of mobility up front for a defensive tackle, and he had a little help up there as well, I believe, from Valley City State's Vance Dumas. It'll be 2nd down and 9. So 2nd and 9. They've been very run heavy so far, has Dakota State. 12 yards on the ground so far for Tice Orthman. The Vikings again showing blitz with a couple of backers right in the middle. They do bring an extra backer. A roll to the near side. Brooks looking to throw. Throws near side of the field. Pass nearly caught on a one-arm style grab near sideline, but it ends up incomplete. That pass was intended to the near side of the field for Amari Hudson, sophomore wide receiver out of Columbia, Missouri. Got a hand on it, couldn't quite pull it in. And let me make a correction. That actually was going to Darian Conrad, and we have a flag as well. It's going to be roughing the passer against Valley City State. Corey, you might have had a look back in the backfield on that. What did you see? I was watching the ball out here on the side.
Yeah, and I didn't see it as much as I was watching our defensive back, Anthony Russell, happen to get his feet caught together there, and we were probably fortunate that they didn't complete that pass. It tells me, this crew last time we had 300 yards of penalties.
Yeah.
and so we need to just not let that affect us right now and move on.
15-yard penalty will take the ball to the 46 of Dakota State, and it's 1st and 10 for the Trojans, their own 46-yard line. Brooks out of the pistol once again, single receiver each side. Little one-step back pedal, he's in trouble, steps up in the pocket, goes down for a mild loss. I believe this will be a quarterback sack. It's Riley Gerhardt again, working hard with Georgie Mangio up front, and a great stop for a loss of a yard back to the 45.
Yeah, they have definitely announced their presence today, and Gerhardt's really been a force, and Georgie and also Vance, I think, at the nose guard. Those guys have done a nice job penetrating.
2nd down, 11 now for Dakota State. Back to the gun for Brooks, the pair of receivers to his right. His back in the backfield to his right as well. That's where he's giving it. Orthman looking for a hole up the middle. Sheds a tackle. Big hole at the second level. Got across midfield and squirts out to the 47 of Valley City State for a gain of around 7 yards. The Vikings had that pretty close to bottled up, but ends up going for 7 yards, and here comes 3rd down and 3 for Dakota State.
Yeah, you're not going to see it happen very often. Dustin Maggio, or Dustin Kosowski, I should say, just happened to miss the tackle probably for a 2-yard gain. Like I said, doesn't happen very often with Dustin.
3rd down and 3 for Dakota State at the Viking 47-yard line. We have no score with 6:22 to play in the opening quarter. Second possession of the game for the Trojans. Brooks waiting for a shotgun snap with 3 receivers. Twins to his right. It's an option look. He cuts back over the middle, has the first down, ducks low, across the 45 and out to the 41. Be a gain of 6 yards. Little option look that time for Zach Brooks. And a 6-yard pickup will be a first down. Again, very run heavy in part because when they've tried to throw it, they haven't had a whole lot of time. But that option look is a different wrinkle that we hadn't seen yet.
Yeah, and that was a little bit different of option as well, because there wasn't a man to really option. They were blocking everyone solid up front. Normally you leave a guy open, and that's your option guy you don't have to block. That time they didn't do that.
1st down and 10 for Dakota State from the Viking 41. Again, Brooks out of the shotgun. He's got everybody on the line except for a single receiver. Gives away backfield. New running back in the game. This will be Gavin Holland, who runs the football, breaking tackles as he got to the numbers on the far side of the field, ahead of the 35 and down to the 30 before he's brought down. Again, Gerhardt coming back to make part of that stop for the Vikings, and Martin Jones getting in as well. But solid pickup of 11 yards and a first down for Dakota State.
Determination there. He just didn't want to go down, kept his legs moving, broke through tackles both at the line of scrimmage and in the secondary.
And now Dakota State building some rhythm as they make their way to the Viking 30 on one of their first trips, if not their first trip into Viking territory today. Under center again is Brooks. He's got a single receiver right, slot back to the right as well. Low man the backfield turn, delayed draw, a little cut back towards the right for Gavin Holland. After a spin move, he's bottled up, and the ball came loose, and the Vikings end up coming out of the fray with it. I believe they're going to say that his Holland's progress was stopped before Georgie Magneo was ready to run it back for a touchdown. He came up with the ball and was on the move, but it will be a 2nd down and 7.
A little bit of a nightmare again here. In that Concordia game, we had a similar situation with an inadvertent whistle, also that would result in a turnover. So again, we gotta remove those things from our memory.
Yeah, 2nd down and 7. That's happened a few times. We can look back on a couple of those. Brooks out of the shotgun. High snap, looks to give it away. There's going to be a face mask. Plenty of flags coming on this one, as the runner was Gavin Holland, and he got his head turned all the way around by Riley Gerhardt coming into the backfield. That was an easy one to spot. The stop is at the 30. The flags are at the 30, but this one's going to move probably to the Viking 15.
Yeah, it is. It's going to put them inside the red zone, and 4 minutes left to go. We in a situation where we took the wind, hoping that we would get more than one possession, I'm assuming. And right now, that might be playing into a little bit what Dakota State's doing with the heavy run game, too, is they're trying to soak that clock, and we'll see what happens when the quarter turns.
They're going to mark it off from the line of scrimmage. It was from the 27. And that will take it down to the 13.5. And so now 1st and 10 for Dakota State, deep inside Viking territory with 4:20 to play in the opening quarter. We have a scoreless battle on our LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard, but penalties, 30 yards of them on this drive alone for Dakota State have been a killer. Brooks under center. He's going to change the play. He steps back from behind center, sends out a couple of audibles to his receiver core, now steps back under center. Play clock with 7 on it. Brooks steps back in looking for the snap. He's got it. Toss to the near side. Long stretch play. Looking to turn up the near side of the field as a running back to the 9-yard line. That'll be Orthman that comes back into the matchup for Dakota State. He'll take it down to the 9, a gain of around 4. 2nd and 6. It doesn't look like a lot, but he had so much time to work with out on that edge.
Yeah, and I really thought we were set up well to contain that, and I'm not sure what our gap responsibilities were on that particular play, but I'm surprised as easily as he got to the edge.
So here's 2nd down and 6 from the Viking 9 for Dakota State. Looking to take the first lead of the game, Zach Brooks waiting out of the shotgun. Now will step up behind his center and again is going to audible a play against this Viking front. Orthman is his back to the left. He'll give to Orthman. It's a zone read, but Orthman keeps it himself and took a shot from Jahidi West, who comes in and just buries him with a shoulder right to the midsection. Gain of a yard to the 8, but solid play from Jahidi West coming up from a linebacker
Yeah,
spot.
really important there, and I think what he saw when he looked into the secondary is he saw our defensive backs looking at our receivers, eyes to eyes, and that tells you that they're man on man, and if you would have the opportunity to pull the ball, there's not going to be anybody there that's going to be sitting in a zone waiting for you. They're going to be chasing their receivers.
Big 3rd down play here for Valley City State. They need to get a stop and hold this to 3 points if they can. Out of the gun, Zach Brooks. He's got Orthman behind him in the pistol. Pair of tight ends balanced. Now we'll see a whistle and a timeout is going to be called by Dakota State. So the Trojans will take a timeout. It's a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, and we'll take one as well here at Locken Stadium. With 2:27 left in the opening quarter, Trojans threatening in a scoreless matchup. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
Ready for some football? Make sure you include quality meats and snacks from Valley Meat Supply. Valley Meat has all your favorites for the grill. Thick, juicy steaks, burger patties, brats, and all beef wieners. Valley Meat has you covered during the hunting and harvest season with sandwich meats and a variety of cheeses, beef sticks, and jerky. If you're tailgating, hunting, or harvesting, make it Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you here this afternoon from Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellig Field here in Valley City. Dakota State threatening on their 2nd possession of the game. It's no score with 2:27 left in the opening quarter. And the Trojans currently facing 3rd down and 5 from the Valley City State University 8. The Vikings looking for a stop to hold this to a 3-point try. Zach Brooks is out of the shotgun. He has his running back, Tice Orthman, to his right. Pair of tight ends. They're overloaded to the right side of the football field as they wait for the snap to Brooks. He's got it. Orthman up the middle. Then Brooks takes it back and goes down at the 10-yard line for a loss of 2. And I couldn't even tell you what the intent was on that play. It might have just been a missed read by the quarterback, but Ashton Rakino out of Hawaii comes up with a stop and a loss of 2 yards.
Yeah, they've been running 1 wide receiver and 3 tight ends, and they have yet to see their tight ends release on anything substantial downfield. So I don't know what they're saving, but we'll see.
Place kicker is Noah Karwacki for Dakota State, and he's a left-footed place kicker. This is a field goal attempt from 25 yards. It's on the way, and it's good. and Dakota State will take the first lead today. Correction, 27 yards on the field goal try for the Trojans. And so the Vikings limit Dakota State to a three-pointer, but the Trojans had the football for a majority of the opening quarter, and there will be an onus on Valley City State to get some rhythm going on this offensive possession.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it'll be an opportunity for us, 2 minutes left basically here before the quarter breaks, but I don't think that the wind is such today that it's going to affect us much in the passing game. But we just need to be able to find Noah some easy throws he can complete, and to be a little bit more aggressive, I think, up front. It looks like we're probably a little bit more passive than we have been recently.
Vikings will get it back. Dakota State will kick it. Let's also keep in mind on that drive, a roughing the passer penalty, a personal foul face mask penalty. So 30 yards were accumulated by way of penalties. And it's odd when you get to game 5 of the season to kind of have penalties continue to be the running theme. But, man, the Vikings have been snake bit that way.
They have been, and like I said, neither one of us saw the roughing the passer. I'm assuming since, there wasn't anybody in the vicinity really when he threw it, but I don't know how harmful or whether it had an effect on the play.
Sure. Noah Karwaki will kick it away for Dakota State. It's an end-over-end, rather shallow kick into this win. The Vikings will have a returnable kick from the 11 for Taylor Simmons, and Simmons found a bit of a wedge to work with, sprints through it, got ahead of the 30, and out to the 32-yard line. So the Vikings a pretty good return, and will take over at their own 32, trailing 3-0 to Dakota State on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard with 1:39 to play in the opening quarter. Well, let's see if the Vikings can pick up a couple of Dairy Queen first downs. We haven't been able to talk about the Dairy Queen first downs much during the game because the Vikings haven't had the football very much here in this first quarter, but we can tell you that the fall weather fans, your fall favorite is back. The pumpkin pie blizzard treat is back, and late sleepers, your moments here, the cinnamon roll center's blizzard treat, both available at Dairy Queen in Valley City. Let's see if the Vikings can get on a roll here as Noah Chambers will go back out in the field with a man to his right. It's a ground ball, fumbled snap. Chambers has it, quick throw. It's incomplete. He did well to get rid of it. The intended target out in the right flat was Austin Young, and it'll bring up second down at 10.
Well, deep breath, fellas. That's okay. 2nd and 10. It wasn't a turnover. Find the positives in that. Not how we wanted to start a drive, but we still have that opportunity in front of us. So let's get half of it back right here.
Absolutely. 2nd down and 10. Again, a ground ball snap back to Chambers. He was able to pick it up and just found something he could do with the football to avoid the really negative play. He's got 3 receivers and now sends a tight end from his right to left. Play action, and now Chambers wants to run big hole right side. Puts a move on outside the numbers, the 40, tiptoes himself to the boundary. He may be short of a first down by perhaps a yard. They're going to put him down at the 41-yard line, but a 9-yard pickup for Noah Chambers. Corey, we've seen that run about 3 times today. The Vikings have found a wrinkle with Chambers' feet, and they're looking to utilize it.
They are, and Noah, it'll be interesting to see this on the end zone view when he watches this back to see if it looked like he was setting up his block there, but rather than going outside, if he'd have went inside, I think he'd have liked what he saw.
Down to 1:09 to play opening quarter. Running, Dakota State with a 3-0 lead. The Vikings looking for a crucial first down. They've had the ball very little in this opening quarter, and they face 3rd down and 1. Chambers taking the snap, going to run again. He's got the first down as he spins himself ahead of the 45. He'll be down officially at the 45-yard line. 4-yard pickup for Noah Chambers. It's a Dairy Queen first down for the Vikings, and a little momentum here building towards the end of the quarter.
And as well as he's running, Dakota State at some point in time, their linebackers are going to have to account for him. And that generally would tell you that they're maybe not accounting for their pass drops in the middle of the field. So if we would happen to see those things later, it's a result of how well he's ran.
That's where you see a tight end come into play that can really gouge you if you've got linebackers cheating up. Chambers again looking to run, got a key block, turns outside towards the numbers at midfield. He's down to the 49-yard line. Pickup of 6 yards on the play. Jay Skogerbo, the safety, comes up with a stop for Dakota State, but another 6 yards for Noah Chambers. He's up to 28 yards on officially now for the Vikings. Clock down to 10 seconds, and that appears to be the end of the opening quarter of football here at Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellick Field today. We'll come out of the first with Dakota State leading 3-0, and the Vikings trying to find some offensive rhythm as we get ready for the second quarter of play in just a couple of moments. We'll take a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. Your score.
You live life on the move. While you determine what direction that may be, we're here to help along the way. So go. Go with values. Go with friends. Go with support. Go with convenience.
On three major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online at grotbergelectric.com.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you today from Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellick Field here in Valley City. The Vikings facing 2nd down and 4 from the Dakota State 49-yard line. They trail the Trojans by a score of 3-0 as we start quarter number 2. The Vikings now moving into the wind. Chambers dropping back to throw over the middle. He's able to find Austin Young, and Young will spin his way to the 45. That's going to be enough for a first down. A Dairy Queen first down for the Vikings. 4-yard pickup on the first completed pass this afternoon for the Vikings.
And that was a result of Noah being able to run the football. The middle linebacker at that time paid a little bit of attention to him at the snap of the ball to make sure that he wasn't running, and all of a sudden you got that route coming across the middle and was open, and he's able to find that window.
1st and 10 from Dakota State's 45 for the Vikings. 3 receivers will come to the near side of the football field. Ferris Amegampwe is in the slot on the near side of the field, and Jacob Gottenberg is out on the outside. Justice Bice on a stretch play, picking up a couple of key blocks. Now to the numbers, the 40, the 35, 30. He's down the sideline of the 25, hit at the 20, bumped out of bounds on the Vikings sideline, just short of the 19-yard line. Good stretch play for Justice Bice as he's going to take the football 26 yards into Dakota State territory, and the Vikings are deep inside the Trojan end of the football field.
It was a great opportunity to run that sweep that side. Dakota State had decided to blitz their linebacker to that side of the field, who would normally be who was accountable for that, and ran to the void to where he was.
So 1st and 10 for the Vikings. They're going to officially put the nose of the football right on the Dakota State 20-yard line. 2 men are now in the backfield. This will be Taylor Simmons joining Justice Bice, and they'll bracket Noah Chambers out of the shotgun. 3 receivers, twins to the left, play action. Chambers wants it all, looking to the end zone, throws over the middle, pass in and out of the hands of Amegampwe, and they're going to rule it incomplete. He had it up in his hands. He took a shot from behind. He was able to get it back before he came to the ground, but couldn't hold it as he came to the ground. Well thrown ball, though, by Noah Chambers, and just not quite the connection for the completion.
No, and that was a good football play all the way around. We got to give some credit to Dakota State and the defensive back there as well. The ball was on point, and we had to go up for it a little bit, but secured it to begin with, but the coverage was tight enough that they were able to get a hand in there.
So 2nd down and 10 for the Vikings. Incompletion stops the clock with 13:34 to play until halftime. Chambers out of the gun, Bice to his left. Little play action, and now Chambers again to throw. Slipped, though, as he came to the point of attack and goes down for a gain of just a couple of yards. J.J. Beck, linebacker, one of their most active guys, 61 tackles on the season for J.J. Beck, has the stop after a gain of a yard. 29 yards on the ground now for Noah Chambers this afternoon. But here comes a crucial 3rd down and 9, and you're very likely in 4-down territory with this wind today. This is a tough field goal try against this kind of wind from the distance that we'd be talking about. You'd be looking at about a 36-yarder. Noah Chambers out of the shotgun with 4 receivers, twins each way. Chambers dropping back, good protection, steps up, and the ball slipped out of his hand, or he was hit. One of the two. He may have been hit. It looks like Cody Brown got into the backfield, and the ball came out of his hands. There was a moment of look as to whether or not that was going to be a fumble, and the Vikings are going to send their field goal unit onto the field. I'm a little surprised by this decision.
Well, we're going to get some confidence right away in our kicker. And,
sure.
And, 4th and 9, not a lot of plays in the play sheet for that.
Sure. So at 4th and 9, this will be a 36-yard field goal attempt for Rodrigo Castaneda out of Richfield, Minnesota. A snap is a good one. The hold is down. Kick is on its way. It's got plenty of leg. Died a little bit in the wind, but he snuck it through. That's a nice kick for Rodrigo Castaneda, who steps into it a second time just to give it another look. You could really see in the last 10 yards of that ball, the wind knocked it down, but he had just enough to get it through, and the Vikings are on the board with a field goal.
Yeah, he did, and one of the unspoken things here with that team within the team is Eric Peterson is holding on that one. And you'd alluded to the snap being good. I think it actually had been a little bit wide on it. I think we've had better ones, and I
Sure.
think that that Gerhard is our snapper, and he's been really solid all year. But I can't tell you what a good job that Eric did on that one and reeling that one in and pulling it across in and getting it down. And then for us to be able to just follow through with our kick, knowing that everything wasn't as smooth as we're used to.
Sure.
It's like that golf swing, if you feel something bad on the swing, sometimes the result happens before you want it to because you know it's going to happen. So very fortunate there.
You mentioned Eric Peterson, sophomore wide receiver from Pillager, Minnesota. Not your prototypical holder, and so the Vikings must see something they really like in him. And, those good holders, they can make a lot of subpar snaps look like pretty good ones up here, can't they?
They can, and I think Eric came in also as a quarterback, and so he's got soft hands.
Sure.
And he's a legacy kid. He had a couple brothers that played here that were pretty good players as well.
Masila Siwa will kick it away for the Vikings from the 35. One man deep to return for Dakota State inside the 10. This is a tough win to kick into. Good kick against it. Line drive to the far side of the football field. At the 15 starts the return for Dakota State. Their return man, and the ball came out, and now there's a scramble on for it. Valley City State thinks they have it, and they do. The Vikings will force a turnover on special teams. The ball comes out at the 30-yard line. The Vikings jump on top of it. It's recovered by Shaden Luna, the senior out of Towner, North Dakota, and the Vikings are going to get another look, this time from the Dakota State 30.
And I'm not sure if right there it wasn't really Gerhard who had ran past the play but came back from behind, and I don't think the returner was expecting that and was able to come in. Whoever it was, Riley or whoever, had ran past it and came back into the play and just did a really good job. It'll be interesting to see now. The offensive coordinator in me is, hey, here's the time that we go
Let's throw the
dagger
home run ball.
and go right now.
We'll see what happens. It was Tamarin Foster that was on the return that loses the football for Dakota State. Shaden Luna with the recovery. Vikings 1st and 10. Tie game at 3 each. They're at the Dakota State 30, and the Trojans may have called for timeout before the Vikings took the snap, and it looks like that is the case. So the Trojans want a stoppage, and we'll give them one with 12:33 to play until halftime. On the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard, we're tied at 3. It's a Mobility Plus rehabilitation timeout. This is Viking football on the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
Why choose professional eye care centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Frank, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula. 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their great selection. Have they got frames? Over 1,000 pair for you to try. So many on hand you'll want a pair for every outfit. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit proeyecarecenters.com and make an appointment today in Valley City, Jamestown, or Carrington. Professional eye care centers, clearly the best.
Ivy Real Estate Group, your locally owned real estate brokerage, is cheering for the home team. Listen to KOVC for the Ivy Real Estate Group Player of the Game following every Valley City Highliner and VCSU Vikings game.
Back out of the timeout by Dakota State. Vikings with the football following a Trojan turnover in the kicking game. It's 1st and 10 from the 30. The Vikings give it away to Taylor Simmons up the middle. Simmons trying to break a tackle as he got to the 15. Just a wide open hole right up the middle. He wasn't hit for the first 12 yards of his run. He'll be brought down to the 15. It's a 15-yard gain for the Vikings.
And we need to get Taylor going again. If you noticed from the timeout, we were out before the timeout in a 3 wide receiver set. That time we stacked things in. And Taylor, his freshman year, he took off the second half of the year, and he had a great year. And we're hoping that we can find those same bursts in him.
Another Dairy Queen first down for the Vikings, and this time it's in Dakota State University's red zone. 1st and 10 to 15. Simmons again, this time hitting the backfield, spun out of it. Now hurdles the man as he gets to the outside. He gets knocked down to the 13-yard line. That's one of the most entertaining 2-yard runs that you're going to see in college football because a lot went on there. Dakota State gets the stop from Colin Brueggemann, a sophomore out of Pierce, South Dakota. 2nd and 8 for the Vikings.
When he got tea-kettled pretty good there, but if you notice, he was switching the ball from his left arm to his right arm, and I think he wasn't quite on balance, and that's probably why it looked worse than it was, but a great move to get 2 yards.
And now Justice Bice will step in as the running back. Chambers out of the gun. 3 receivers. He'll have Bice to his left on 2nd down and 8 from the 13. Bice right side. Good hole to run through. It closes quickly, though, and Bice goes down at the 11-yard line. Stop is made by Brooks Jansen, the defensive end on the left side. And I'm not sure. That had kind of an awkward finish to it, Corey. Go ahead and take us through that.
Yeah, Justin's a strong kid, and I don't know if he didn't see that tackle coming, but it looked like when contact was made, his legs stopped on him, and he just kind of went right down to the ground.
It was kind of an odd way to finish the run, but nonetheless, 3rd down and 6. The Vikings taking over after a turnover. Dakota State fumbles on a kickoff, and they got it at the Trojan 30. Can the Vikings get into the end zone with 10:40 to play in the second quarter? Chambers out of the gun. The lead block is there. He spins out of it as he calls his own number. Inside the 5 and down to the 3. Bice went downfield to hit somebody and didn't have to. He could have run the ball to the end zone himself. As it is, Noah Chambers to the 3. 1st and goal for the Vikings. There's a lot of strange things going on right now, isn't there, Corey?
And for a crew that's really penalty happy with the personal foul, I really thought that time that Noah got speared from the backside and attempted to be, and I'm surprised it wasn't called.
1st and goal from the 3 for the Vikings. They're looking for the first touchdown of the day for either team. Chambers out of the gun, calling his own number again, tiptoeing his way through a little wedge in the middle and goes down right around the 4 for maybe a loss of a yard. There wasn't a whole lot there. There were men in the backfield early, and Chambers just kind of tried to tiptoe his way through whatever soft spot he could find. Cody Brown with stop for Dakota State.
You know, and the quarterback draws like that, when you think about that play from the defensive perspective, if the quarterback takes a little bit longer before he takes off to the line of scrimmage, you start getting into your pass drops a little bit deeper. So I think he needs to be a little more patient with that and let the blocking and everything develop.
2nd down, goal from the 4. Chambers with Simmons in the backfield behind him in the pistol. Pair of receivers to the left. Simmons moves to the right, now steps back behind the line of scrimmage, and now it's the Vikings that are going to utilize a timeout as there was some miscommunication. Ferris Amigangwe was in some trouble as he was looking to go in motion. At the same time Simmons was. The Vikings may have just saved themselves 5 yards in a double shift.
Yeah, and in a day, because that would occasionally happen with as much as we like to trade and shift and run motions. We had a hot call where if we said something, that meant everybody needs to stop what they're doing, and then we'll resume so we don't have 2 guys in motion at the same time. Because inevitably, if you do that, it's going to happen.
And so the timeout taken by the Vikings for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. Happy to have you with us here this afternoon from Viking football. What a beautiful day that we have for this one today. There was some cloud cover to get started. It's kind of gone away. The Vikings are at home again next weekend with Iowa Wesleyan. And Corey, you might know a little bit about some of the events that are going on next week. I don't know if there's anything special that's planned as far as putting together. I mean, the tailgating usually happens what time? About 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, it's normally 3 hours before kickoff.
Okay.
And it's unusual. We're playing a game at when we're supposed to be playing
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, not on Thursday night and not at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, huh?
Or 7.
Or 7, yeah, there you go as well. Yeah, so we'll have actual regular, I think it's 1 o'clock, so 10 o'clock in the morning with the tailgating, and the food smelled great today. Chambers, 2nd down, a goal from the 4. There's Simmons bursting to the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings. Taylor Simmons working right side. It didn't take him long to find the hole he was looking for. And Corey, you called it. That first step may not be as big as the third one, but that third step was a burst of speed. Simmons into the end zone.
Yeah, he just really does a nice job. And you know, we got to, I think, tip our hats here a little bit to Jacob Romero and to Cade Queen. Those guys look like whatever they were doing. I don't know if there was a pull there by Romero on that particular play, but it certainly opened up nicely.
We'll see an extra point opportunity from Castaneda, who just knocked down at the field goal a couple of moments ago. This is nothing but net for Castaneda, and so Rodrigo Castaneda, a field goal and an extra point to his credit today. And the Vikings have their first lead of the afternoon. They take a lead on Dakota State over the Trojans rather by a score of 10-3 in the conference opener here today at Locken Stadium in Shelley Ellick Field. We'll pause as we have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Don't leave your wiring to chance. Plug into your #1 electrical source, Highline Electric. They're the experts in residential, commercial, and industrial electrical work. No cutting corners at Highline Electric. Call 845-0731. They'll give you a free estimate before any work is done. Family owned since 1986 with Chad and Tracy Zahn. And I promise,
the price won't shock you.
Highline Electric in Valley City. Call 845-0731. building a reputation of integrity and quality.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you today from Locken Stadium in Valley City. The Vikings taking advantage of a Dakota State turnover in the special teams game and scoring a touchdown to lead 10-3. And we'll see the kick away coming from Masila Siwa as it hangs in the air at around the 15-yard line, and Tamarin Foster looking to make a return out of it. He gets tripped up across the 25, goes down to the 27. Riley Gerhardt comes up with a stop for Valley City State. If he was under 18, the Vikings would be charged with child abuse with the way they use this kid. Defensive line all over.
And I was just thinking that after the extra point, because the centers are supposed to be protected, the snappers on extra points, and for some reason it never happens. And if you just watch Riley on extra points, I think people are going, hey, that's their stud defensive end. We're going to, take our shots at him if we get a penalty. He's laying on the ground, now comes out, kickoff, second tackle in a row. Now playing defensive end.
Yeah, he's just a very, very physical guy, hometown guy from Valley City. Good to have him on the team. 1st and 10, Dakota State, little screen pass to the right side, and a big gaping hole to the 40, to the 45, out to the 47-yard line for a gain of 20 yards on the throw to the near edge, and I believe the throw comes out to Aiden Jungers. Correction, that throw is going to come out to Blake Duran. Or let's try again. Is that Austin Lake? They've got 2 number 5s. I think it was number 5 that caught it, but I'm unable to tell you. Blake Duran is a defensive back that's listed as a starting corner. And they can play 2 men. And so I'm going to say that's Austin Lake that probably caught the football, eh?
Yeah, it has to be. They had 80 new kids they brought in this year, so I think they're doubled up on a few numbers.
20-yard pickup, though, for Austin Lake. And that'll make it 1st down and 10 for Dakota State from the 48-yard line. Little give up the middle of the football field. Second man to run the ball, Gavin Holland today across his midfield. Out to around the 49. Short gain of around 3. Couple of Vikings in on the bottom of that pile. And it's probably Riley Gerhardt who comes out of there again, and it is. And, Corey, take me back to that. There's an injury for one of the Trojans on the field, and it may be Brooks, their quarterback. But, no, it's not Brooks, rather. But, take me through the idea of being able to play 2 different men wearing the same numbers. I saw that earlier in a game up at Mayville State this year, and it's really confusing as to why we'd let that happen.
Division I has started to do that, and it really came into play when we had this 4 free games, where these guys can play 4 games, and then after that they can put their red shirt on them, and so now you just have these huge rosters. And you have over 100 guys that you're dressing, and inevitably you have all these skilled kids, and so they give an offensive number and a defensive number. And a lot of times it'd be like your Heisman Trophy winner. There's a guy on defense at the same number, and you're like, what?
Okay.
It gets confusing for us to watch it as well, but it's something that now is just becoming the standard, and it's really difficult for, we can't see the numbers very well, and it should be a penalty to start each half until that gets fixed. And then now you have 2 guys with the same number.
The injured Dakota State Trojan is Travis Rebstock. That's their tight end. They've been playing several of those throughout the course of the day, and it looks like he may be able to get back later. He's walking off the field with a slight limp on his right side. After that, it was a 3-yard gain on the stretch play on the near side to Gavin Holland, and so that'll bring up a 2nd down and 7 for the Trojans at the Viking 49. 8:16 to play until halftime. Rapidly expiring first half of football today here at Valley City State and Locken Stadium. The Vikings leading 10-3, taking over after a turnover by Dakota State in the kickoff return and scoring on a 30-yard touchdown drive to crack a 3-all tie. Out of the gun, Zach Brooks. He's got a man behind him in the pistol. Takes the snap, looks to get rid of it. Now play action, throws, incomplete. Well-conceived play as he tried to come out to the right side for one of his tight ends. I believe that was Alan Danielson, freshman out of Henderson, Nevada. That was the intended target on that throw. Goes through his hands. They kind of motioned Danielson as more of a slot back. Then he faked the block and came out to try to get open.
Yeah, he does that little scoop motion where he comes across the backfield, and normally he's kicking out, and he just released into the flat. Just a poor throw.
Chance for the Vikings to get off the field again. 3rd down and 7 for Dakota State from the Viking 49. Waiting for the snap is Brooks. He has it. Little two-step drop. Throws near side. Pass is caught by Orthman, the tailback. He moves inside the Viking 35. Steps on the boundary right at the 34. And that'll move the sticks on a 15-yard throw to Tice Orthman. He's caught the ball 4 times this season for 79 yards. So when they do get Orthman open, he's usually got a lot of room to run.
Yeah, that was a good scheme that time by Coach Anderson and Dakota State, just bringing to the weak side of the field, taking your running back out of the backfield and knowing that we don't have a linebacker to that side, and was just able to hit him for the first down.
3 receivers, twins to the right, as Zach Brooks waits for a shotgun snap. He has Orthman in the backfield with him as the tailback. Brooks still waiting, puts on some hand motion, now takes it. Orthman, right side, off the tackle, just dragging a couple of men with him, and will drag it ahead for about a 5-yard pickup to the Viking 29-yard line. Stop is made by Valley City State's number 56, Vance Dumas, defensive lineman out of Renton, Washington. And that'll be a gain of 5 yards for the Trojans. It'll be 2nd down and 5 coming up for Dakota State. Vikings with that 4-man front that's been pretty good today against this Dakota State running game, but the Trojans are trying to poke some holes in it down the stretch of this second quarter. A pair of receivers to the right. Brooks again out of the shotgun, waiting for the snap. Got a couple of tight ends. And they're both in a balanced situation. 2 tight ends balanced across the line. This time, second man, Gavin Holland is the carrier. He gets up to around the 27 and shoved back. Short gain of just a couple of yards. Number of Vikings are there. Looks like Dumas coming out of that pile again. He's been active the last couple of plays. And Georgia Magnio comes up with the stop also. Here comes 3rd down and 3 for Dakota State.
And I think they're looking here. Their playbook is wide open here. They could take a shot in this situation because I think they go for it on 4th down as well.
So 3rd down and 3. If you wanted to take your shot at the end zone here, thinking you can come back for 3 yards and a 1st down on 4th. Zach Brooks, the shotgun, waiting for the snap. He's got a pair of receivers to his right, a man to the right in the backfield as well. That's Gavin Holland. Holland looks to take it. Now it's taken back by the quarterback, Brooks. Zone read. Sneaks ahead of the 25, the 24, and looks to have a 1st down just inside the 24-yard line. He got low against Dumas and Gerhardt again on the right side of Dakota State's line, but enough to move the sticks.
And interesting today, the quarterbacks have really been the popular choice in carrying the football.
On both sides, yeah. You know, Brooks came in with 37 rushes for 69 yards before he went out as a quarterback, and so this may have always been the design for Dakota State to go more zone read quarterback with him. And he's done a lot of that so far today. Pair of receivers to the right. Again, 2 tight ends balanced. Shotgun snap. Looks to give it away. Does. Orthman takes a big hit on the near side of the field and goes down. That's Georgia Magnio that comes up with a stop for the Vikings. Got in right there on Orthman and brought him down. They'll nudge the ball to the 21 for a 2-yard pickup. 2nd and 8 Trojans. 31 yards on the ground for Tice Orthman today. 15 yards on a catch for Orthman as well. Dakota State again trying to methodically go down the field. The Vikings looking for a stop with a 10-3 lead on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. We're inside of 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Brooks again out of the gun. Pair of receivers to his right. Waits for a snap, arms up, arms down, now takes the snap, drops back, looks to throw, squares his shoulders, right side, wide open, touchdown throw to the far sideline, and Dakota State will be within a point at 10-9. Throw goes out to the right side of the field, and Dakota State able to connect on a touchdown toss to cut the lead to 1 with the convert pending as they score their first touchdown today. I'd love to tell you who caught it. I can't. All the way over the far side of the field, and you absolutely cannot see the numbers. Did you get a number, Corey?
I did not, but I can tell you that the quarterback did a really good job to snap the ball, throwing his shoulders like he was throwing the flat route. You know, not a pump, but he threw his shoulders. And we bid on that, and then that cover 2 void, we just couldn't get over the top.
Extra point kick is on its way from Noah Karwacki, and it is good. And we have a tie ball game here. Or was it no good? Oh, was that wide left? It looked like it went right through. I just went ahead and called it. No, they're going to say that ball missed wide left. My apologies. So the Vikings will keep the lead. Okay, it's 10-9. I guess we can't see. There's more things we can't see than just the Dakota State numbers this afternoon. It's 10-9. The Vikings will hold on to a 1-point lead with a clock to 4:43 to play until halftime. No, I took a look. I thought it saw a cross in front. We need those yellow goalposts is what we need, right?
Well, we probably just need better eyes, Ryan. I mean, I know you're way younger than I am, but
Yes. Yeah, but the eyes have been failing. That's one of those things. The last time I went in for the eye exam, they said, yeah, you definitely need readers. And so I guess I started wearing readers at this point. I'm not wearing them today. So nonetheless, Dakota State, we'll get the stat line. We'll get the box score coming up at halftime. We'll give you an idea of who caught that touchdown pass. We don't overestimate. I mean, it's really hard. You just cannot see these numbers on Dakota State's uniforms today. And I'm really surprised that there hasn't been a move to stop that on the part of the association, the conference, whatever. Kickoff is away. Taylor Simmons from the 9-yard line for the Vikings sets up a middle return. Got hit just as he got to the 19-yard line. It'll go down there. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Valley City State coming up at their own 19 with 4:37 to play until halftime. Stick around. Coming up at halftime, Tim Ost will have a conversation with V500, the VCSU Foundation, sponsored by the VCSU Foundation, and we'll be introducing Erin Heidi, who is the Director of Enrollment Services at Valley City State University. She'll join Toast coming up at halftime today. So the Vikings with 4:37 to go. They've got 2 timeouts to work with. We're in a tie game at 10 apiece. Noah Chambers out of the shotgun, 3 receivers to his left. He'll run right and scoots out to around the 23 for a gain of maybe 3 yards. Host of men out there, Brooks Jansen making the stop for Dakota State, and it will be 2nd down and 7 for Valley City State University. Correction, 2nd and 8, they're going to give them 2.
And we have some opportunities there. The holes are there. We just need to maintain our blocks for a split second longer so we can get through those.
Vikings looking to the sideline, and backup tight end William Fall putting his hands up to see what the play is supposed to be. Ferris Amegangpwe also looking to the sideline, trying to get the call in. He's got it. And now it's 2nd and 8. Chambers taking a shotgun snap, 3-man rush, throw to the near side of the field, out to the 25-yard line for a short gain of a couple of yards. Pass caught by Dominic Sotomayor, a freshman out of Meridian, Idaho. And they're going to move the ball to the 26. So it'll be a gain of perhaps 4 on the throw. And here comes 3rd down and 4. I had Dominic Sotomayor as 23 on my play sheet, and it's going to be 29. So let's go ahead and fix that as well. I'll tell you what, numbers have been a real challenge this afternoon here at Lockett Stadium. Not exactly sure why. 4 receivers, 3 to the left. Chambers waiting out of the shotgun, and 3rd down and 4. Chambers a bluff throw, then throws, and a huge hit, but the ball held on to by Sotomayor, running a slant route out to the 36-yard line. He'll have 11 yards, and Corey, I really respect the guy that takes a whack like that and holds on to the football.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the last 2 balls he's caught have been all hands. We don't see that a lot. We see a lot of body catches, a lot of bringing it into the center of your body. Those were strictly hand catches and really tough and well executed.
So 1st and 10, Vikings from the 36. 2:55 to play until halftime. The Vikings and Dakota State tied at 10. Little mix-up in the backfield. Justice Bice looking for the ball. Slipped out of a tackle, though, and then steps his way forward on the Vikings sideline to around the 39 before he went down. It's a nice little bit of running there for Justice Bice when the play was broken in the backfield due to some misdirection.
Yeah, Justin has had some really nice runs for us this year, and I don't know if it's today how I'm viewing it. He just doesn't look like he has the juice he normally has. Looks a little heavy-legged at this point.
2nd down and 7. Vikings from the 39-yard line. Taylor Simmons comes back into the game as the running back. They're going to give him the football in a stretch play right. Simmons thinks about cutting up over the middle, does, but he gets swallowed up as he got to around the 41 and driven backwards. Play is made by J.J. Beck. Again, one of the better linebackers you're going to find on Dakota State squad, and he's been very active throughout the course of the year. Simmons will get the 42 on forward progress, so a gain of 3, 3rd and 4 for the Vikings. So here comes Valley City State, crucial 3rd down and 4. Under 2 minutes to play. It's 10-9. Apologies, I've said 10-10 a couple of times. I still have that extra point in the brain. It's 10-9 Vikings, a 1-point lead, and they would like to tack onto that before the whistle here at halftime. Out of the gun, Chambers with 3 receivers. 5 men run routes. The backfield remains empty. A spin near side. Chambers going to run outside the numbers. Sticks the football out of the near sideline looking for help. He's going to be short of the 1st down at around the 45. They wanted to move the front stick, but that's not a 1st down. They haven't given the signal yet. The Vikings need a half yard. Corey, are they going to dial it up here?
Yeah, they're going to go for it here. I don't think the spot was great. I think Noah, if he could do it over again, would take that hit on and try to get that first down.
Well, they're going to go for it on 4th down and less than a yard from their own 45. 1:37, the clock halted as the play went out of bounds. Chambers tried a hard count, now steps back. We may see a direct snap to Justice Bice here, and he may kick it, and that's apparently what's going to happen. Bice will kick the football. This may have been partially blocked. It takes a pro-Viking roll and then is picked up at the 37-yard line by one of the Trojans, who will step out of bounds at the 38. So that's an interesting twist. Justice Bice, the running back, takes the direct snap, and the ball was partially blocked, then got a really good Viking roll, and Dakota State left it alone. And boy, an analyst could spend an hour trying to break down that play.
Yeah, I think it still goes down to the 3rd down play and the spot that we received on that, number 1. But let's not put that in the officials' hands, and let's stay in bounds and let's know where that yard marker is. I am going to tell you that we used to have a down-to-go pylon that we would put down, and we don't do that. And that's one of the things that if we knew where that was, he gets that one.
He would know where to go to on that sideline instead of the chains being over on the far sideline. So 1st down and 10 for Dakota State. After the punt, they take over at their own 38-yard line. Brooks out of the shotgun, 3 receivers. He takes a 3-step back pedal, steps into a throw, looking to throw over the middle of the football field, passing complete. He had a man open, running over the middle of that little cover 2 beater, and the intended target was number 14, Deshaun Keel, who is their best receiver. 10 catches for 111 yards on the season, but the ball a bit overthrown. Maybe sails with the wind. 2nd down and 10 for Dakota State.
Well, what we're looking for here is if they don't pass again and the clock stops, we will stop the clock, I should say, at a run here. And then right now, Coach Horner, I'm sure, is dialing up his punt block if they don't get anything on this down.
2nd down and 10. The Vikings with 2 timeouts left to work with. 1:23 to play in the half. They lead by 1. Brooks out of the shotgun, 3 receivers. Twins to his left again. High snap, he's got it. They'll run the football, little zone read look. Orthman's piled up right at the line of scrimmage. Nudges forward to perhaps the 39. And the Vikings have not called timeout yet. Clock down to 1:10. And Valley City State so far choosing not to call timeout, which is maybe surprising here. I'm not exactly sure why.
Well, we haven't lit it up most recently offensively, and we might be thinking, hey, let's just, cut our losses at this point and regroup at halftime.
So 3rd down and 9. Clock runs down to 45 seconds to go. Long look by Zach Brooks out of the shotgun. Now with 10 seconds on the play clock, Brooks will change the play. Now the offensive line pointing out things as far as where the linebackers are. Play clock at 1. Shotgun snap to Brooks. Dropping back, looking, throws right side. Could have been a hold. Pass is incomplete to the far sideline. The Vikings were just getting loose. I think it was Georgie Magneo that was about to go into the backfield. He got turned around, and we haven't seen really any flags since the Vikings got called for those 2 15-yarders on that one drive.
I was going to say that, and I thought, no. I'm gonna stay away from jinxing it.
I'll stay it.
Compared to what happened the last time.
I mean, there were 2 penalties on that drive, one for roughing the passer and the other for a personal foul face mask, which was legitimate. But there have been some opportunities for more to be called today, and instead the officials choosing to kind of let the players decide it. So with 29 seconds to go, kick is away, and here comes another flag. The Vikings are going to be called for roughing the kicker, as this return won't matter. Simmons on the return to the 26, but one of the Vikings came in and threw a forearm right into the Dakota State punter, and the man that did it is Viking number 10, Jahidi West. And right now, Jahidi West was coming over to the sideline, and I think Coach McCulloch was initially talking to Jahidi West, then talking to the official, and Dave Roush, who's on the sideline, Coach McCulloch had to send him back to the sideline. There's some frustration down there right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not sure that they're frustrated with their players. I think that the flag right now should have been for poor acting. I thought in the Highlander game last night the running into was a little bit weakened, and I thought that one was not requisite of a flag. I really thought the punter acted or that would be a flop in college basketball.
Yeah, it would. They did dumb it down, though. It's not roughing, it's running into, which is really a strange choice. We'll talk more about it in a second, but it's 4th and 4, instead of 4th and 9. So the Trojans will punt anyway with the clock down to 20 seconds to go. Kick is away again. This time, no contact from the punter at all. Simmons an over-the-shoulder catch at the 13. Puts a little shake and bake on as he got to the 20, out to the 22 with 10 seconds to go till halftime. So, Corey, my understanding of the difference between roughing and running into is that if you run into the kicking leg, you've got, or is it the planting leg, it's running into the kicker. If you run into the kicking leg, it's roughing the kicker. And what happened in that situation with Jahidi West is he came right into the shoulder of the kicker and threw a forearm. So would that be roughing or running into? I guess I don't know.
Well, it was definitely at the most running into. And my rule of thumb is if the punter was the ball carrier there and he received that hit, would he have fell to the ground?
No.
No.
Not even
so
close.
So then it was acting.
Yeah. Do we have the flop call in college football yet?
We need to, and that was really poor.
Well, it was a frustrating.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. We've already given out more than $75,000 to students in North Dakota this year. Let us help you become the next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
The positives are we're ahead.
Yeah.
All right, and if we're in that locker room right now, all we're talking about is what we're doing going forward. That's the way we wear our helmets. That's the direction that we're going to go into the second half.
Sure.
And we're talking about what things we feel like we felt good about.
Sure.
And we're going to concentrate on exploiting those things. We're going to find out from our offensive linemen, hey, are there any weak spots on that defensive line? Secondary, do you got guys you think you can, take advantage of as far as receivers? And then defensively, we saw when they're going one direction, they're really run heavy, 3 tight ends. And when they're going to the east, they decided they wanted to try and put the ball in the air a little bit more. And so I think we have a better idea that way on probably what we're going to get. And now what adjustments is it that we make? And it'll be interesting to see in the second half. Is it an offensive formation that we feel we're going to stay with? Will both quarterbacks run the ball as much?
Sure.
Because the defense is probably going to say, hey, we need to account for this a little bit more. And so it'll be interesting.
Couple of things. Offensively for the Vikings, Taylor Simmons seems to have had a pretty good first half. I'm guessing he's going to get the ball more. Defensively, the one thing that brings me back to the Dickinson State game, the touchdown that the Trojans scored, just a huge broken coverage. Their receiver was open by about 15 yards. So still kind of working that through, which is going to happen maybe. You don't want to happen more than once a game, though. That's one of those that took place that you'd like to have back.
Yeah, and in the Dickinson game, I think if I remember correctly, it probably wasn't a good matchup for us. It might have been their best receiver on our linebacker, if I'm remembering that particular play, and they just caught us in, bad responsibilities in that one. Today, with our cover 2 and how we were running it, and I think the quarterback, we got to give him a little bit of credit. He really threw his shoulders on the fake on that, and I think we just bid on that because that's what they had been doing. And then when he turned the corner and went upfield, they had tried to occupy our safety, and our safety didn't get over the top. And so sometimes we do have to give credit to the other team that their playbook's got some good plays in it too. And so, as long as we can take advantage and minimize our mistakes, I think we'll be happy with where we are.
Do we really want to give Dakota State credit for having good plays in their playbook, Corey? I mean, is that an offensive coordinator's thing, just protecting the brethren, or what?
I think no, it's not that, because it's certainly not that situation. But I think sometimes defense, we're so reactionary with the things that we do, and reading your keys, and sometimes the keys are fake to us, and we just, or we don't get a good read on it, and those things happen. We can't let it happen again.
Sure.
That's the key.
Yep.
It happens once, and shame on me.
And Corey Anderson is going to go down to the Dakota State locker room with a roll of electrical tape and put black over those numbers so that we could see them. in the second half of football because it was a tough first half.
It was 4 years ago, I believe, at the University of Jamestown. They were playing Mayville State, and Mayville State had a similar situation where they had white jerseys on with white numbers and royal blue outline.
Yeah.
They got a penalty to start the half,
and
to start the game and starting the half, and that week they had to have all their jerseys reprinted.
Well, if anybody involved with the NAIA or the North Star Athletic Association happens to be tuning in, these particular jerseys from Dakota State probably need to be updated. We'll just go ahead and say it that way and be as much politically correct as we can. But nonetheless, a frustrating first half of football that the Vikings are still happy to lead by a score of 10-9. Our halftime report is on the way. We'll run down the numbers that we had in that first half of football for both of these teams. So stay tuned for that coming up on our halftime report. And then we'll also have our conversation between Tim Ost and the V500 and the VCSU Foundation. Erin Heidi will be our guest today. She's the new Director of Enrollment Services at Valley City State University, and that is coming up as well. The Vikings lead 10-9 as we go to halftime. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
No matter where you live, you should have access to high-quality health care. Jamestown Regional Medical Center's orthopedic and sports medicine team offers care for hips, shoulders, knees, and toes. When an injury occurs, teams need care quickly. That's why the JRMC orthopedic team promises same-day and next-day appointments. Schedule direct at jrmcnd.com or call 952-4878.
Jamestown Regional Medical Center will never stop building for you.
Rambo, a proud sponsor and fan of Viking Athletics, has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you are ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
This is Amy Heim, nurse practitioner with Sanford Health. Well child checks are important visits for children of every age. Yearly well child checks are recommended for children 3 and older and more frequently for those younger than 3. It is at these visits that growth, development, and preventative care are addressed in an effort to keep children as healthy as possible. Recommended immunizations are also discussed and provided at these visits. Call 742-3267 to schedule at your local Sanford Health Clinic in Ellendale, Foreman, Gwinner, Lemoore, Lisbon, or Oaks.
The keys to the game are brought to you by RE/MAX Now of Valley City and Jamestown. Just as the keys to today's game offer growth, success, and opportunity for the future, so do the keys to your new property. Whether you're looking for the keys to your starter home, the keys to home where you raise your family, the keys to your business, or the keys to your lake home or retirement property, for every step of the way, RE/MAX Now of Valley City and Jamestown are here for you. Check out our website, findrealtynow.com, for pictures and virtual tours.
Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, your community Health Mart Pharmacy, is a supporter of many Valley City events and organizations. During the month of October, they'll donate $1 for every yard of fabric sold to the St. Catherine's School fundraiser. Also during the month of October, take 10% off all candles. 10% off all candles. For all your healthcare needs and prescriptions, see your trusted healthcare resource. Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, downtown Valley City. Health Mart, caring for you and about you. Toast in the Morning with the VCSU V500 halftime interview, and today we're talking with Erin Heidi, Director of Enrollment Services. Erin, nice to have you along.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How many years at VCSU?
This is my 5th school year, my first year in the director role.
How's that going?
It's fabulous.
All right. Recruitment, that's the biggie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about what you have to do to get those kids to go to Valley City State University.
We hit a lot of college fairs. We do a North Dakota circuit, a South Dakota circuit, and a Minnesota circuit. And then we will visit individual high schools as necessary. So you might see us out at a local school here and there. We also do a lot of email and text communications, just really stay in touch with those students, kind of build that relationship and get to know them and answer any questions to hopefully get them to come visit Valley City State.
And that recruitment thing is a full-time job all year long.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, scholarships. So what kind of scholarships are we talking about?
Fantastic scholarships provided by the V500 Foundation. anywhere from a 1-year scholarship, either $1,500 or $3,000, to 4-year renewable scholarships all the way up to $16,000. They're all based on your high school GPA.
Let's talk about VCSU enrollment. What a year again this year. We're up again.
Yes, we are.
Incredible, too. And transfers. You know, we have a lot of that going on nowadays.
We do. Yes.
And
Yep. Very easy to transfer to VCSU. Very convenient, kind of a seamless transition. So anybody who's interested in transferring, we do encourage them to come check us out.
the scholarships available for those people, too.
We do have a different set of scholarships for transfer students. Yes.
Okay. How about a campus tour? What do we have to do?
Campus tours Monday through Friday, any day that we're open. We hold them in 2-hour blocks, and when you sign up, you get that block all to yourself. So when we say that it's a one-on-one personal experience, we mean it, and the whole office is dedicated just to you. Your tour guide's just for you. We are there just for you. But we also have group visit days. So if you want that experience to come and check out campus in a bigger group, you can check us out October 20th or 21st. We have group visit days. A lot of students don't have school. And then November 5th is our next one as well.
Interested students and parents can do what to set up that campus tour?
You sign up online. So,
Okay.
yep, head to our website, vcsu.edu, click on the visit button, and pick a date and a time that works for you.
Aaron, anything else?
Go Vikings.
There you go.
Yes.
Go Vikings. Aaron Heidi, Director of Enrollment Services at Valley City State University. Toast in the morning with the halftime interview.
The CHI Mercy Health Valley City Foundation invites you to join them for an evening of fun at the Valley City Eagles Club October 21st beginning at 5:30 with a social, raffles, auction, eats with a German flair, and dueling pianos at 8 p.m. Individual tickets are $25, can be purchased online at mercyhospitalvalleycity.org under the Foundation tab or by calling CHI Mercy Health in Valley City 701-845-6400. Proceeds from this event will benefit the purchase of a new mammography machine.
Brothers 3 has the area's widest variety of classic and new fishing tackle at the lowest prices to give you the edge this year. Before heading out on the water, stop in and get your live bait and tackle and fill your tank on the highest quality gas and diesel. Brothers 3 is your locally owned and operated convenience store. As always, Brothers 3 has the lowest prices in town on everything from snacks and drinks to gear, propane, and automotive supplies. Remember, it pays to shop at Brothers 3.
The book is here. The Smith Lumber Home Center Fall Merchandise Book is here for your shopping convenience. All kinds of items to get you ready for fall and winter. Lawn and garden, tools, automotive, building materials, electrical and heating, plumbing, paint, and more. Pick one up today and register to win one of 2 $500 shopping giveaways. The newly expanded Smith Lumber Home Center on East Main, Valley City. And coming soon, an all-new greenhouse in time for the holidays.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right. Lever's Foods.
Stock up and save with Lever's Foods. This week at Our Family, Idaho russet potatoes, 5-pound bag, $2.49. Boneless beef arm roast, $3.89 a pound. Boneless pork loin chops, $2.99 a pound. Kellogg's cereal, 2 boxes for $6. Delivery available. Call 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
With Corey Anderson, Ryan Cunningham with you here today from Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellig Field. We have reached halftime today, and our halftime report here on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, is presented by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. It's 10-9, Valley City State by 1 over Dakota State University as we start to pencil in on what happened through that first half of football. And as we just take a look at the rough numbers, we see that the Vikings ran it well, didn't throw it all that well. Dakota State was rather balanced in the way they approached the game. Things are extremely even as far as the individual numbers are concerned, kind of the things that you would expect to jump off the page, with the exception of the fact that Noah Chambers came out and ran the football for 43 yards for Valley City State in the opening half. I don't know if we were necessarily looking for something like that, but we had a combined, now listen to this, folks, a combined 14 passing opportunities in that first half of football between the two teams. The Vikings threw it 8 times. Dakota State threw it 6 times. Corey Anderson's got the offensive mind here. I didn't say offensive. I said offensive, right? Okay, Corey? But tell me, I mean, you throw it 6 times, you throw it 8 times. as an offensive coordinator, what can that mean? What's going on in your mind at that point?
Well, if you watch Dakota State when they line up against us, they're going with what we call an odd front, as I'd mentioned. So the center and both tackles are covered by down linemen, and then they have everybody else in coverage.
Okay.
And so you are really looking at it. On the odd time, they will walk a guy up on the line of scrimmage, and he'll be what we call an edge player, a hang player, where he won't have anybody over him. So he may be in a good rushing situation. But when you see things like that, it kind of invites you to, hey, we should really be able to run the football well against this. And they're playing two really deep safeties, and then they're playing, their other guys, 6 of them, kind of in that intermediary zone. And so they're taking away a lot of the pass opportunities. And so we have really not had much of a chance for explosive plays. And for us to do that, it's going to have to be a situation where in your playbook, you may need to have to do some trades of your players. You may have to do some motions. You may not have to get the defense confused a little bit in terms of what their responsibilities are and get them moving so that it might open up some opportunities, get their eyes somewhere else where they're not supposed to be. And Dakota State's basically, they're kind of what I'd say dumbed the game down. They're just saying, okay, we're going to get into a slugfest with you, and we're going to let you run, and we think we can take care of what's going on up front. And for the most part, they have rallied to the football pretty well. There's opportunities, I think, for Noah on some of the weak side runs that we saw to maybe break some out. And we think that Taylor has probably had some opportunities that way. Justin, early in the year, had really said today doesn't seem like he has his juice that he normally has. So, the Dakota State's definitely playing on top is what I would say, and they're not taking hardly any blitzes. They got home with 3 people the one time they did sack Noah. So, we kind of have to be patient a little bit and keep the lead, and then they're going to have to take some chances to try and get the ball back.
Yeah, the Vikings will have the football to start the second half of play. Here's your scoring summary. Nora Karwacki on the second possession of the game for Dakota State kicks a 27-yard field goal at 1:45 of the opening quarter to make it 3-0. Early second quarter, the Vikings moving down the field. They'll get a 36-yard effort from Rodrigo Castaneda, and that caps off a 10-play, 49-yard drive to tie it at 3. And then the ensuing kickoff, Dakota State fumbled, and that was the one turnover that we had in the opening half. Dakota State's fumble. The Vikings get it on the 30, and on the drive, Taylor Simmons gets into the end zone from 4 yards out. Castaneda knocks in the extra point, and there was a Taylor Simmons run on that drive of 15 yards to really break it open. That made it 10-3. The Vikings give up one big play, and that one is a 21-yard touchdown throw from Zach Brooks to Cole Siliuson. Comes at 4:43 to play of the opening half. The extra point kick was no good, and so the Vikings hold on to the lead by a score of 10-9. As far as the numbers are concerned, the Vikings run it for 108, throw it for 18. Dakota State runs it for 66, throws it for 57. Total offensive numbers, 126 for Valley City State. Dakota State with 123 in total offense out there. Penalties are a difference in this one, though. It's worth mentioning that the Vikings were hit for 3 penalties for 34 yards in that first half play. A couple of big ones in there as well. Dakota State wasn't penalized. Noah Chambers, 10 carries for 43 yards. Justice Bice, 5 carries, 39. Taylor Simmons, 5 carries, 26, and a score for the Vikings. For Dakota State, Tice Orthman with 10 carries for 32 yards. Gavin Holland, 5 carries for 20 yards. Their longest run was 11-yard carry, and that's one thing we can say, Corey, is Dakota State's ran the ball fairly effectively with 66 yards in that first half. I mean, they're on pace for a 120-yard game on the ground, but what jumps off the page is that they really didn't break it open with their running game either. They didn't get huge to the second level. They kind of just chipped away, and so that means the Vikings are doing something well defensively to limit that running ability.
Yeah, and I think we would agree if you were to ask our defensive guys, we haven't tackled very well the first half. And so I would think that that'll be improved as we go into the second half. Our running backs are both averaging over 5 yards a carry. I mean, we would take that at the end of any game. And so in the situation that we're at now, I'm going to apologize to Justice Bice because I have said I didn't think he had great juice today, but he's averaging almost 8 yards a carry. But that just tells you what he's like when he's really, in my mind, healthy, that he would have broke some of these off. And so I'm not saying that I don't think he's healthy. He just doesn't look like he has it today, but I'll take 7.8 yards a carry anytime from my tailback.
Well, the one thing about it is, maybe the reason why it's deceptive for us is because the Viking offensive line is doing a really good job of opening up the running game. Sometimes running backs don't look star-spangled awesome when the line is opening up such a nice wedge or giving you a good wedge to run behind that you just kind of tiptoe your way for 7-8 yards at that point.
Yeah, and I think that, we're going to have to pick our spots here where we attack them with the passing game. And if we're averaging, over 5 yards a rush, that tells me that our play-action pass should really be effective. And our tight ends, if they can get themselves in a good situation behind linebackers and sit down in those zones, we're going to be fine. We maybe can't be running across them. Maybe we have to find the windows and sit down, and then let's be accurate with our deliveries.
Halftime brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Before we get to our second half, a quick look at our LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard with major college football around the country. Number 2, Georgia leading Auburn early fourth quarter, 28-3. Oklahoma State is trailing now to Texas Tech, 31-23 in the third quarter. Shootout going on there. And the Red Raiders currently leading the number 7 ranked team in the country. UCLA leads Utah after 3, 28-18. Ohio State over Michigan State, 35-13. That game early third. Ole Miss leading Vanderbilt, 30-20. Ole Miss, a top 10 team this week. That's early third. And Arizona State now leading Washington, number 21 in the country, 31-17 on some games that are in progress in major college football. I'll turn my attention to the Missouri Valley coming up here in a couple of moments so we can keep you up to date on some things that happened. Earlier today, North Dakota State survived Indiana State 31-26 in the game that was pretty close all the way through.
And I think we had a good game between Mayville and Waldorf today.
I'll check into that. That game has probably gone final. Yeah, you're right. I'll check out the North Star scores as well because I kind of put myself in the wrong place. I forgot that we're in a 4 o'clock game this afternoon, not a 1 o'clock game this afternoon. So we may actually have some finals coming in from around the conference and other places today. But Dakota State will kick it away to start the second half of football. Taylor Simmons back to return the kick for the Vikings at the 2, as this one got a good burst to win. Simmons setting up middle return, hit shy of the 20. He'll go down to the 18-yard line. So the Vikings 1st and 10 from the 18. They get the ball first and will have the wind in the fourth quarter. Pretty good situation to be in here in the second half. You're going to be in a tight ball game.
I'm going to give some credit to Dakota State's kicker there as well because that is as high as I've seen at the kickoffs this year, and Karwacki did a nice job, and I actually thought we had some nice blocking up front. It's just the timing there. It's so for Simmons to be able to hit that one a little bit harder or a little bit faster, I should say. I think he'd have really had a big run.
Vikings with the football at the 18-yard line. 1st and 10. They lead 10-9 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. They'll motion Ferris Amigampwe and give the ball to Justice Bice on a stretch play to his right. And he's driven back after achieving maybe the 18-yard line, the line of scrimmage, maybe one more than that. Driven back to around the 16-yard line. Going to be one and no more than that. And again, J.J. Beck the stop for Dakota State.
A good extra effort there. The first guy is not making the tackle on Bice today, and we just need to maintain our blocks and keep with our integrity that way.
Second down, a long 9 for the Vikings. Bice remains in the backfield. He'll step up even with Noah Chambers to Chambers' right, who's out of the shotgun. Chambers takes the snap, looking, now thinks about throwing, now thinks about running, caught from behind, and he goes down back at the 18-yard line for a 1-yard loss. If he'd have taken off a little bit earlier, there was a window to run through, but didn't quite feel the pressure that he needed to, and Max Sonny gets to him from behind for a quarterback sack.
We had some opportunities, I think, downfield there and exposed some gaps on their defense that we had just talked about at halftime and just didn't have the time to be able to look those things over.
So here comes 3rd down and 10, and the Vikings are hoping for not a 3-and-out quickly to start this second half. Chambers takes a shotgun snap, designed rollout to the right, throws off his back foot, caught near sideline but short of the yards to gain, I believe, right around the 27. The ball is caught near side by Justin Cruz freshman for Justin Cruz out of Pueblo, Colorado. And he looks to be short by about a yard, right at the 27-yard line. And the Vikings, you would have thought perhaps a tough call, but they're obviously too deep in their own territory. They'll have to kick the football into this very stiff breeze here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and great concept on that, and rolled him out, allowed him to see some things. They only rushed 3 on that, and initially when we made our break, we had enough for the first down, but when you come back to the football like you need to, then we ended up a yard shy.
So 4th and 1, and we'll see the punt from Masila Siwa. Siwa puts a leg into this one, and it is a very good punt considering the wind. It takes a very nice pro-Viking hop to the 31-yard line of Dakota State. I'll tell you what, give credit to Masila Siwa because that was a tough kick to execute in this wind. He got all of it that he could drive into the wind, the extra little hop. That's a really nice change of field position considering the circumstances.
He did a very nice job on that, and hopefully that allows us to flip the field a little bit here. And now we're expecting them to probably come out in more of their light formations with a few more wide receivers if they're going to follow what they did in the second quarter and put the ball in the air a little bit more.
Scores coming in from the North Star today on the LaRue Lockout Financial Scoreboard. You're right, number 24, Waldorf, was taken to, I guess you could say, the 9th inning, if you will, by Mayville State. 28-21 was the final score. That's not your daddy's Comet team up there. They can play a little bit. They've got a great receiver core. And Dickinson State defeated Iowa Wesleyan on the road today by a score of 23-0. Zach Brooks is under center. Play action on 1st and 10. Wants to throw a deep ball. He's in trouble. Riley Gerhardt's got him back at the 23 for a quarterback sack. Boy, he thought he had extra time, did Zach Brooks, and didn't read that well, and Gerhardt makes him pay for the Vikings. 7-yard loss on the play. Riley Gerhardt has had another massive day for Valley City State today. He's been just so fun to watch.
I'm out of adjectives.
I can understand why. He got in quick, and there wasn't much Brooks could do when he saw big number 59 barreling at him. Pair of receivers on each side on 2nd down and 17 for the Trojans. And again, Gerhardt causes problems. This time, Brooks will take off and run. He tiptoes ahead of the 25 to around the 28. Be a gain of about 5, so it's 3rd down and 13, maybe a gain of perhaps 4. Good to see the Vikings, though, cause a little bit of mishap in that backfield for Dakota State as they try to throw the ball.
Yeah, and I think 3rd and 13 here, I think what you're going to see is just probably a 3-man rush by the Vikings, and you're going to see a deep cover 2. And what I'm worried about here is a little bit in the middle of the field. We need to be able to rally to the football before the 40-yard line.
4 receivers, twins each way on 3rd down and 13 for Dakota State. Brooks stepping up under the line, now stepping back, and he'll move his tight end Tice Ortman in the backfield to his left. Another throw of the hand, and here's the snap from Brooks. He looks quickly to his right, checks back now to his right, now rolling out to the right side, looking desperately for an option, throws over the middle, pass caught along the far sideline at the 43 of Dakota State, and it'll be enough for a first down, a 15-yard pickup for the Trojans, who come back to the football to help out their quarterback, and I believe it was Gavin Holland that caught the ball, and so the Trojans will pick up a first down.
Yeah, Anthony Russell was right there in coverage and just couldn't quite get his hand in there to knock that ball out. And, one of the things with 3-man rush there is your rush lane integrity, and he was able to break that and get to the outside and buy some more time.
So a 1st and 10 for Dakota State from their own 43 as they pick up what was needed on a 3rd down and long situation. Brooks out of the shotgun. Couple of tight ends to his right. Almost a wing T look here. Zone read, nowhere to go. Orthman is swallowed right at the line of scrimmage, maybe for a half a yard loss. And the Vikings got in there with good pressure. Now, there's another man having a big day for Valley City State defensively, and that's Vance Dumas. We've seen him step up on that line and make some big things happen on that defensive front today.
Absolutely, and in the middle of the formation like that, when you're dealing with guards and centers that are big kids today, he's certainly done a nice job.
Dakota State will check Nathan Cook in, one of their reserve tight ends. They played a ton of them today. They really seem to be rich in that particular position. They've had them all over the field today as far as blocking in the running game. 2nd down and 10. Shotgun snap for Brooks again. Again, that wing T look here. Brooks dropping back, looking to throw, stepping up, right side flat, pass caught. Short gain, perhaps 4 or 5 yards, as they do get it to Cook, the tight end, who hops out of bounds on the far side of the field for maybe a 3.5-yard pickup. So here comes 3rd down, a long 6 for Dakota State from the 47. This is kind of a crucial 3rd down play for the Viking defense.
It is, and that's 2nd time we've seen them exploit us running their running back out of the backfield to our weak side. We're offsides here.
So here's 3rd and 6. Now we're definitely offside, but looks like the Vikings got back onside. Difference between high school and college, you can get back. Dakota State decides to change the play at the line of scrimmage. 3 receivers. Now the Vikings show blitz. They don't bring it. Brooks dropping back, throwing right side. Pass between 2, incomplete. Late break on the football by Paco Baltazar. That ends up disrupting what was a receiver getting right between the help side coverage and his front man on the far side. That was number 88, Derek Simonson, or rather Simonson, that was going back to catch the football, and the Vikings get a nice piece of coverage from Paco Baltazar.
Yeah, Paco did a nice job there. And that cover 2, that's that void that it takes a big boy throw to be able to hit that void.
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
void, and he dang near did it, but he hung up his receiver a little bit, and he paid for it.
So on 4th down and 6, the Trojans will punt. The Vikings leading 10-9 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. The kick is away, driving kick in the wind. Simmons making the catch, the 18. He sets up near side return, caught from behind and around the 21-yard line. Had he been able to get away there, he had a lot of room to run, but the tackle's made by Tamarin Foster, freshman out of Apopka, Florida. And so the Vikings will take over from the 22 in a 10-9 ball game. Valley City State leading with 9:18 to play in the 3rd quarter.
Taylor gives a little high step there. He might avoid that tackle and get up the sideline, but as we recall, a high step is a personal foul and sportsmanlike penalty. So
1st down and 10 for the Vikings from the 22. That's the last thing we need, is to give anybody a reason to throw more flags. Chambers taking the snap, looking behind the lead block of Bice to call his own number and stretch to the left, and maybe a yard pickup for Noah Chambers up to around the 24 and driven back there. It seems like the Trojans were ready for that particular play. They're going to key on Noah Chambers now, and a gain to the 24 for a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Vikings.
Yeah, just a little bit too long to develop on that one after he got out there. I think he was really looking for that hole to open up, and Dakota State just did a good job of getting guys to rush to that side.
Gottenberg, the wide receiver to the left, he'll be pressed. 3 receivers to the right for the Vikings. And again, Justice Bice moving to the right of Noah Chambers. His own number again on that design quarterback draw, and he spins ahead to around the 26. A gain of about 2. And Corey, this is something you picked up on back in the opening half. It's a timing thing, and if you take off a little early, you cost yourself a couple of yards. And Noah's running, he's executing it well, but he seems a little jumpy. He really wants to get running early, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's hard. He's a few quarters into his college career, and he's learning as we go as well, and the game probably hasn't slowed down for him as much as he'd like.
5 receivers now. The Vikings will empty the backfield. Trips to the right side. Twins to the left side. Chambers waiting shotgun snap. He's got a quick throw. Near side little comeback screen. This is Young. Young caught from behind as he gets to around the 31. He's short of a 1st down by about 5 yards. It was a well-designed play. There was just one extra man the Vikings couldn't beat as they got back to the middle of the football field. And so it's 4th and 1 again from the 26. And it looked like there was some hesitation from the Vikings as to what to do, but ultimately the punt team comes onto the field.
Yeah, we need to punt here and just rely on our defense. They've done a nice job today, and add yards to the punt with that play, and see if we can flip the field here.
So another kick coming up from Asila Siwa for the Vikings. Waits for the snap at the 21-yard line. Snaps a bit offline, but he goes to get it. Another driving kick into the wind, and then this one hangs up. And ultimately, the Trojans will let it fall, and that's going to cost them big time. Pro-Viking hop from around the 31 down to the 21-yard line. Boy, I'll tell you what, the most valuable player of the second half is the kicker, Masila Siwa. That's a great punt.
Yeah, that's 49, 50 yards right there. And you talk about flipping the field, right? That's why we decided to do that there. And so now it's up to our defense to get a 3-and-out right here and get us the football back at the 40 or 50-yard line.
Vikings leading 10-9 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. We're halfway through the 3rd with 7:07 to go. Beautiful look at the Cheyenne River Valley down to our south today. The sun's out. Going down the western sky, obviously, because we started a little late today, but we're going to have a good finish to this one. Now the Vikings need to get the ball back. Zach Brooks waiting for a shotgun snap. The Vikings blitz the far side corner, and running that direction is the running back is Gavin Holland, I believe. And again, we can't see the numbers today, but it looks like Gavin Holland, the second running back, is in. He's going to go down for a loss back at around the 15-yard line, so a loss of a yard. Vikings bring some pressure on that edge, and Dakota State didn't capitalize.
And Dustin Kosowski there didn't miss that tackle. And like we said, it was unusual in the first half when he did miss one that time. he was solid.
2nd and 11 for the Trojans from the 15. Brooks out of the gun again. 3 receivers, twins to his right as he waits for the snap. Little jumping from the Vikings. They get back on side. Here's the snap to Brooks. Little 3-step back pedal, throwing out of the backfield. Little sidearm stop to the far sideline. Pass is caught across the 20 to the 22. Paco Baltazar comes up with a stop. Pass is caught by Austin Lake for the Trojans. That's a gain of perhaps 6. So here comes 3rd and 4. Crucial 3rd down for the Vikings, trying to get the football back quickly.
And we ran a little stunt up front that time, and George Amaggio was just a split second late of getting home on that one. He had a clear shot, and Brooks did a really nice job of staying in there and completing that pass. 3rd down and 4 for the Vikings as the Viking crowd that's here today starts to come to life, looking for a big stop the Vikings could use. 5:45 left of the 3rd. The Vikings lead by 1. Out of the shotgun, Brooks going to throw near side. Wide open tight end on the 30, the 35, the 40. The pass caught by Derek Simonson. He's inside Viking territory, the 45, the 40, and spun down at the 37-yard line. Just a little breakdown in the flat. No one home for the Vikings, and a big gainer for Dakota State to the Viking 37. Yeah, the corner I think is responsible for the flat there, and there was a wide receiver out there, and then all of a sudden that tight end snuck out late. Great play design by Dakota State to capitalize on that, and now they have flipped the field.
That is a 48-yard gain for Derek Samansma, a redshirt freshman from Huron, South Dakota. So Samansma makes the grab for Dakota State, and it's 1st down and 10. The Trojans run a little bluff in the backfield in the zone read and give the football away to Gavin Holland, who will step across the 35 and down to the 34. At a gain of perhaps 3, it'll bring up 2nd down and 7. That name was spelled about 3 different ways on their depth chart, Corey, and so I decided to just kind of check the roster to see what they were coming up with there, and who knows if it's right on the roster either, right?
Absolutely.
But, we'll go with it, right? 3-yard pickup on the play for Gavin Holland, and it's 2nd down and 7 for Dakota State from the Viking 34. Clock under 5 minutes to play now in the 3rd quarter. Brooks again waiting for a shotgun snap with 3 receivers. Brooks claps the hands, throws the hands down, looking for the snap. That's the cadence. Toss to the near side. This is Holland. Holland looking for a hole. He's not going to find one. Got to the 34 and driven out of bounds. Couple of big defensive plays there for the Vikings, and the effort was led for Valley City State on the near side by number 32, Blake King, senior out of Sydney, Australia, that comes up with a stop. So here comes 3rd down and 7. I wonder how somebody feels coming from Sydney, Australia to play college football at Valley City State. That's a heck of a journey.
It is.
We're used to Alaska and Hawaii, but
yeah. And we've had a couple Australian athletes, and they've been awfully good.
Yeah, well, he was good on that play, that's for sure. 3rd down and 7, another big opportunity for the Vikings. This may be 4-down territory for Dakota State from the Viking 34. Shotgun snap to Brooks, he's in trouble. Another man held, but no flag. A throw by Brooks downfield, and the pass is incomplete. And the Vikings come up with a big play despite a little bit of adversity. Anthony Russell was back on coverage, but again, Corey, I saw a jersey getting tugged from behind as the Vikings came through, and we haven't had a holding call all day today for either team.
Yeah, and I was not probably watching the rush as much that time as I was the defensive backfield, and they had been having success running that running back out into the flat. And that time we changed some things up, and we had Jahidi West that was covering the running back.
Here comes a 51-yard field goal try for Noah Karwacki for Dakota State to take the lead, and the snap is bobbled. It's picked up on the right side. They look to throw to Karwacki, and that ball is incomplete. Karwacki was the man that released out of the backfield. The kicker ended up being open in the far flat. The ball was thrown toward him by Cooper McDermott, who was the sophomore wide receiver that was holding on the play. So that's just a complete hot mess for Dakota State on the field goal try. And the Vikings get the ball at the 34-yard line, still with a 10-9 lead.
And as I'm looking at the guys that are downfield, I can't tell what their numbers are, but it's a big guy, and it was that an illegal receiver downfield as well.
Well, Noah Karwacki's 6'3" and 215 as the place kicker, and I think he was the intended target, but you're wondering if there were some other men
that
were downfield because they anticipated a running play since the ball was bobbled. Here's a shotgun snap to Chambers for the Vikings on first down. Taylor Simmons trying to pick a hole, cuts back over the far hash marks towards the middle and drives ahead of the 40 up to around the 41 for a gain of about 7. That's a bunch of hard fighting yards in that situation for Taylor Simmons before he's brought down by Jay Skogerbo, the free safety. 2nd and 3 coming up for Valley City State.
It could be overstated here on my part, but it looks like our body language this drive has just changed for some reason.
To the good or to the bad?
To the good.
Okay. Well, we'll go with that if that's the case. 2nd down and 3. Chambers dropping back, throws, incomplete. Coming back to the football was Jacob Gottenberg. And here's a flag as Noah Chambers was hit in the backfield, and maybe the roughing the passer situation is going to even itself up this afternoon. It would be the first penalty against Dakota State as well. Let's get the call. And that's what it is. The Vikings are going to get 15 for free. They're going to have an automatic first down. That ball's going to move into Dakota State territory. So in a season where we're used to the Vikings being undone by the flag, this one's going to be a nice little burst on this drive.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm a former quarterback, and I coach quarterbacks, but I think there's too many roughing the quarterback penalties. and
But if you call one that way, you got to have
absolutely.
consistency, right? That's kind of the way
Absolutely.
that goes, and so now you got to call the other one that way. 1st and 10 from the Trojan 44. Justice Spice, little cutback counter in the backfield. Not much there, maybe 2 yards. He started right, came back left. It was designed to do that, but there were some men that he couldn't get around up front, and one of them was Devontae Murphy. We haven't said his name today. That's 6 feet and 290 pounds out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yeah, they've done a nice job, again, with that 3-man front, and we really feel like we should be able to run the ball against them. We've not had the success that I thought we would.
2nd down and 8. 2:30 to play in the 3rd quarter. The Vikings leading 10-9 in the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. Young moves in motion from right to left for the Vikings. By stretch play left, looking for a hole. Caught in the backfield, ran out of it. Now tries to reverse his field and goes down right at the line of scrimmage. He had a bit of a hole momentarily, but there wasn't much to work with. Brooks Jansen will bring him down right at the line. So here's 3rd and 8 for the Vikings from the Trojan 42. Boy, I feel like, Corey, this is moving in a direction where some team is going to take a gamble somewhere, and it's either going to be the thing that wins or loses the game. It really kind of feels like that right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the conservative nature of how things have been called at this point.
You just wonder. 3rd down and 8. Shotgun snap to Chambers. Bluffs. Now he runs. He's got a bit of a hole, but man, did that close quickly to the 39. It looked like Chambers had everything he needed to move with the football, but in one swift motion, Max Sonny comes up with a stop on Chambers for just a couple of yards. So 4th and 5.
Yeah, and I think we're just outside of 4-down territory here, but what territory we are inside of is fake punt territory.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. Masilla Siwa, and that may be the gamble that we're talking about. Siwa's got a great day punting the football. We'll run the punt team back out there with the clock down to 1:05 to go in the 4th quarter. There's 10 seconds on the play clock. Siwa waiting for the snap. Dakota State lining up. They do send somebody deep to return it, and Siwa angles his kick towards the far sideline. This will fall just out of bounds at around the 14. And let's see where the official, they're going to say it fell on the 14-yard line. So that's a pretty good job again by Masilla Siwa, picking an angle to put that inside the 20 and trying to pin Dakota State deep.
He's done what we have asked him to do today, and plus some.
Yes.
Thus far in the game, and again, they got 51 seconds here with, I think the wind has died down a little bit too, and I really don't think it's probably playing the part that it was earlier in the game.
So the Trojans will take the football from the 14-yard line, looking at 1st and 10, with Valley City State leading Dakota State 10-9 this afternoon. 4 receivers and a shotgun snap coming up for Zach Brooks. He's got it, looking right now, delayed draw. Little hole to work with there for Tice Ortman, who crosses the 15, and Ortman gets out to around the 18 as the pile moves him forward for about 4 yards. There was a lot of space there, but then again, that closed up rather quickly as well, and Riley Gerhardt ends up dragging him down from behind. And we have an injured Viking on the play as well. Valley City State's Ashton Rakino is on the field. Right now, there's another Viking on his knee. That might be Riley Gerhardt that's on a knee as well.
And Ashton's the one who came up and filled on that play, and when it looked like that there was some space, he came flying in, and I'm hoping in this situation it's just one of those, you got the wind knocked out of him. especially as he takes his helmet off like that. I think he's just trying to get more air, so that's what we would hope. But, we see a couple guys down on knees there, and they've been on the field a lot. Riley looks like, he is trying to find some second wind.
He's a warrior. Riley Gerhardt's just an absolute warrior. Right now, they're tending to Ashton Ricchino. They've got him back up on a seated position, and Ricchino will take his helmet and start walking towards the sideline, and he's walking off without a limp or anything like that. So like you mentioned, stunned, wind knocked out of him, something along those lines, and got a blow, and now he's coming off to the side.
Yeah, I'm sure that all that happened on that is he came up because he exploded onto that one, and I think he probably was holding his breath and made that impact and knocked the wind out of himself.
2nd down and 6 after the play for Dakota State and the injury to the Vikings, and we'll see Zach Brooks out of the gun. 3 receivers. He'll set a running back, to his right in the backfield as he waits for the shotgun snap. Snap comes. He's under pressure. Gerhardt's got him for a quarterback sack back at the 10-yard line. Gerhardt was unblocked. He came off the snap and just completely ran around the left tackle for Dakota State. That's Troy Stanstel. And there was no chance. That was like a track meet, and Gerhardt just beat him to the finish line.
It looked like the snap was on 1, and the tackle didn't think it was on until 2 because Gerhardt ran right past him.
A 7-yard loss on the quarterback sack, and that will bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter of football with no scoring in this 3rd quarter, and the Vikings leading 10-9 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. We've already given out more than $75,000 to students in North Dakota this year. Let us help you become the next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
You live life on the move. While you determine what direction that may be, we're here to help along the way. So go. Go with values. Go with friends. Go with support. Go with convenience.
Viking football on the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you today from Locken Stadium in Valley City. 4 o'clock start, the Vikings leading 10-9 as we go to the 4th quarter. It's been a very fast football game today between these two because the teams have decided to really be run-oriented, and Dakota State, following a quarterback sack, looks at 3rd down and 13 from their own 10-yard line. Big opportunity for the Viking defense. Brooks out of the shotgun, faces a 4-man rush, steps up against it, throws. He was hit as he threw the football, and it's incomplete. That front 4 has done a tremendous job today, and that's Georgia Magnejo that comes up with the stop as he gets an arm up and stops Brooks's forward motion throwing the football, and the Vikings will force a punt.
Both Georgia and Georgie today have shown up well, as has Vance Dumas and, of course, Riley Gerhardt. And that time, the Vikings rushed 4. Last time in 3rd and 13, they rushed 3, and the quarterback got out and bought some time, and that time it paid off.
So the Vikings look to return a punt. This will be into a bit of a breeze. It's not as big as it was earlier. Taylor Simmons waiting at the Dakota State 45 for a chance to return the kick. The kick is away. It is short. It is in the air. Simmons fair catch at the 36-yard line. So here's a chance for the Vikings. If they can get down the field, score, and kick an extra point, keep in mind, Dakota State missed one earlier. You go up 8 and at least force the 2-point conversion and kind of make it a 1.5 score game if you want to. So here come the Vikings leading 10-9. Big momentum time right now, Corey.
Yeah, and we're in 4-down territory right now. I mean, we can look at that as we look at our play sheet, and if we can get 8 or 9 on one of our plays here, and we can maybe dial one up and play action deep, it's worth the shot.
So Noah Chambers out of the gun. Justice Bice behind him in the backfield now steps up even with him. The Vikings 2 tight ends, all kinds of jumping, and a player coming out of his stance on the near side for the Vikings at left guard. The man that jumped was Sammy Trejo. but there were 2 men that jumped for Dakota State that may have drawn him offside, and now we wait for the call, and here it comes, and that's going to be encroachment against Dakota State. The Vikings will pick up 5.
I'd like to see Sammy delay his jump a little bit more there. He was really quick with that one, but he obviously knew what he was doing down there.
But he has a future in sales because as soon as he jumped, he pointed, and then as soon as the official threw the flag, he began clapping. And you need that, right? Sometimes if there's a moment of indecision, a player can help guide you in the path towards which call you're going to make.
The pride of El Paso right there.
First down and 5 for the Vikings following the penalty. Chambers waiting out of the shotgun. Again, 2 tight ends are stacked to the near side of the field. He looks that way, dropping back to throw. Now throws it underneath. The pass is caught. This is Cruz on the catch. Cruz shakes the shoulders. He got to the 25 and gets knocked out of bounds there. That's going to be enough for a first down. Officially at the 24, a gain of 6 for Justin Cruz on his second catch today.
And wide open, good scheme on that. I'd like to see Noah put a little more touch on that ball. That's a hard ball to catch from that distance as a receiver. And then looking into what we're looking into now.
Yeah,
the receivers are into the sun.
And it was also thrown a little bit behind him, which makes it even more difficult to throw to catch the football. But again, like you've mentioned, Corey, freshman, learning the ropes as we go here. Bice delayed draw, cut back near side. Again, hit trying to drag a man with him. Does a nice job of staying on his feet for what little he's going to get out of this. A gain of around 2, perhaps to the 22-yard line. He was hit by Brooks Jansen in the backfield. Then Cody Brown came in on him as well. And, boy, I'll tell you what, Bice wasn't going to go down without a fight. He picks up 2, and it's 2nd and 8.
He's a tough kid, and like very seldom does the first tackler ever get him down. You know, he has that ability to keep that play alive.
Clock down to 13:40 to play in the 4th quarter. The Vikings leading 10-9 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. This Viking crowd that's been here today is looking for a reason to get enthused. Taylor Simmons comes into the game for the Vikings as the tailback. Chambers out of the shotgun, dropping back. The Trojans bring 3. Simmons over the middle. This one maybe caught on the goal line, waiting for the call. It's a touchdown. Viking touchdown for Austin Young. Getting low over the middle of the field. He got away from Jay Skogerbo. The ball was thrown very near the turf, but give credit to Austin Young for going down to scoop that up. Senior out of Pequot Lakes, Minnesota, will haul it in for the score from 22, and the Vikings will take a 16-9 lead.
And not bad coverage that time by Dakota State. And I was looking pre-snap. We had doubles to the left, doubles to the right. They had 3 defensive backs on both sides. It was 3 on 2. We were able to come through with the opportunity to score there.
Rodrigo Castaneda on for the extra point. Kick is on its way. That one is beautiful, and the Vikings will take a 17-9 lead on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard with 13:23 to play in the 4th quarter. We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation here at Lockett Stadium. Vikings 16, Trojans 9. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Lockout Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockout, CPA, at 845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you today from Lockett Stadium. By the way, Corey, before I forget, thank you for stepping in today. I didn't have an analyst today. There were a lot of people that are all interested, but they all had different things going on. And I just lobbed out the Hail Mary text to CA. And I saw him coming up here as the pregame began, and I'm like, somebody just bailed me out. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We try to do what we can.
Double duty for Corey. He's handling the tailgate responsibilities downstairs as well. Siwa kicks this away for the Vikings, and I believe it's Ortman that's back on the return now for Dakota State. He gets outside the 15 to 20, down to around the 23, and goes down there, and Dakota State will come out with the ball at the 23-yard line. And Corey, I take it from your reaction, you may have spied a holding penalty or two? Or
The only reason Riley Gerhardt does not make the 3rd tackle in a row on a kickoff is because he got blocked in the back. He turned around and looked at Ryan Jungling, the official on this side, just went,
Well,
so I guess, you know what? They have the flags in the pocket today. That's okay.
they ran out Ortman, though, to return the ball, so that tells you a little bit of where Dakota State is. They're trying to get their ball handlers every touch they can now. 17-9, Dakota State by 8, 13-15 to play in the fourth quarter. The Vikings looking for a stop to really change some momentum in this one, and they're going to get a start to it as they give the football away in the backfield, and Georgie Magnejo comes up with a stop. He just gobbles up Ortman, who got the ball and got to him just as the ball was getting there. It'll be a loss of 2.
Yeah, he just split that gap that he was running through there, and Ortman just tried to read that way too long to make the perfect read.
Second down and 12. Pair of receivers to the left. 2 tight ends balanced again for Zach Brooks. Brooks waiting for a shotgun snap. Vikings out there with 5 defensive backs. Brooks still waiting, throws the hand, looks, now takes the snap. Again, the zone read. Brooks takes it away, wants to throw, fires a deep down the middle of the field, and this one's caught against 3 men in coverage at the 46-yard line for the Vikings. It's caught, of the Vikings, rather. This is caught by Darian Conrad, a senior from Addison, Illinois, but that was thrown up in the middle of triple coverage, and maybe the Vikings just didn't track in the football.
We run that play 10 times in a row. We picked that one off 9 times.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but you've got to look at the football in that situation. The Vikings didn't do that. That's good for a 32-yard catch today for the wide receiver on that play, Darian Conrad. So a 32-yard catch for Conrad. And Dakota State will have a first down and 10 at the Viking 46, and the Trojans are going to give 5 of it back as they have some extra motion out on the left side of their offensive line. Officials will get together for a quick consultation, and no question on this one, there is a false start, and that false start, I believe, has been called against Mose Timoteo, who is the left guard for Dakota State. Timoteo is out of Pearl City, Hawaii, which means they broke conference rules by not giving all the Hawaii players to Valley City State, right?
Absolutely.
That's the way that's supposed to be. You got to get on that, Commissioner.
Yeah, well, we share.
Okay. First and 15 back at the Trojan 49. 4 receivers. Brooks waiting for a shotgun snap. Man, the backfield in the pistol. With him is Ortman. Play action, and now it's Brooks that wants to call his own number. Got a nice block downfield to hold Vikings up. And to the 45 goes Zach Brooks. That'll be a gain of perhaps 6 on the play to the Viking 45-yard line, bringing up second down and 9. But give credit to Ortman, who went down the field and made a nice block for Dakota State.
Yeah, I'm just keying on Georgie right here in the middle, number 99, and he is getting off the football so fast this afternoon and really just being a disruptive force. And I think that he's not showing the fatigue that the guys playing against him are showing. Yeah,
Georgie and Georgia Magnejo, both from Anchorage, Alaska, sophomores. They're twin brothers, and they're in the game at the same time at times. Second down and 9. Shotgun snap for Brooks. He takes it, drops back, pocket collapses, rolls out near side, then throws downfield. There's a flag down. Pass is caught up at the Viking 25, but this is likely not going to hold as Riley Gerhardt steps out in front of the hometown Viking crowd and said, "I was held." And I think this time the officials are going to agree, and this is coming back against Dakota State.
So let's sum this up. Sacks the quarterback, makes all the tackles on kickoffs, snaps for the field goal and the extra points and probably the punts, and now making the officials calls for him as well.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
What can he not do?
Well, we haven't seen him run the ball yet. I mean, can we check in 59 as a running back?
Well, I tell you what, Josh Kosowski'd be upset because he was a pretty good linebacker that wanted to run the ball, and we never let him. So,
you know, we could go back in time on that one, Corey. I understand you had a guy by the name of Derek Elliott that had talked you into running the football too.
I was not here at that time.
Well, that wasn't you. Okay.
Yeah, I had his brother, but not Derek.
Second down and 19 after the mark-off for holding. It'll be a loss of 9 yards on the play. And dropping back is Zach Brooks out of the shotgun, waiting for a snap on second and 19. He drops back to throw. Again, the pocket gets to him, and again, he's wrapped up and brought down for a quarterback sack. Give the sack to the entire defensive line, although Georgie Magnejo will get credit for it. But there was a host of pressure there. I think the edge actually collapsed because of brother Georgia Magnejo, and then Georgie got the sack.
Yeah, and they play with such passion, and it's so much fun to see. And it's got to be a little careful there. At the end, it really looked like the official was watching him a little closely too. So.
Third down and 21. Viking crowd coming to life. They lead at 17-9. here in the fourth quarter, looking for a stop in the ball. Brooks out of the gun with 3 receivers and more motion up front. And Dakota State has number 56, Jack O'Neill, an offensive lineman, slapping himself in the helmet, indicating that penalty was against him, and the officials will agree. But again, they're making it a little easy. The Trojans are, when you're, indicating that the penalty is against you, it's pretty easy to call it that way.
Well, and we're really pinning our ears back here, and I think we got to be a little careful of the screen game here and make sure our linebackers are paying attention to that. They had a tight end trying to block Riley that time. Looks like they have back to a tackle.
3rd down and 26 for Dakota State. They're back at their own 37-yard line. 4 receivers. There was more jumping, but this time it won't be flagged. They give it to Ortman running up the middle of the football field, and Ortman with a little bit of a hole continues hard into Viking territory out to the Viking 43. It's still well short of a first down, but he picked up 19 yards on the play, so it'll be 4th down and 7. Another tackle for Riley Gerhardt. Somehow Gerhardt making that tackle 19 yards downfield from the defensive line.
After running past the quarterback on his pass rush, he retraced his steps and got back to the ball carrier, but a little too much yardage there. I'm surprised really here that Dakota State's is not going for it. It is only a 1-touchdown game.
But the way that the second half has been for
Yes.
them offensively, I think you'd like every snap of the ball that you can get at this point. We'll see what they do here. They're on to punt the football. And Dakota State has a punt snap, but a good driving kick. That'll drive Simmons back, and he dropped the ball, and he's not going to get on it. And it's scooped by Dakota State. Now, wait a second. Did Dakota State touch it at the 7? It looks like that's the call. I'm surprised. It was dropped. Dakota State's going to get the ball officially at the 7-yard line, but I'm a little confused as to why they didn't get to recover it and step it up to around the 3 where they ended up, Corey. It's a little weird.
Well, I'm assuming that they're calling first touching right there from where Taylor misplayed the ball is where the first touching was, and it couldn't be advanced after that point.
Fair enough. Okay.
And Taylor, in watching that, it looks like he took his eyes down momentarily to see where the rush was, and I think just took his eyes off the ball, unfortunately.
Key turnover, Trojans 1st down and goal inside the Viking 10 at around the 7-yard line. They'll give to Ortman, sneaking up the middle of the football field, drives his way to the end zone, and he's in for a Dakota State touchdown to cut the lead to 2. Ortman gets in from 7 yards out. The Vikings with a miscue on special teams, and it cost them 6 points, the convert pending, and it's 17-15, and I'm sure the Trojans are going for 2. Well, a tough way for this one to spin. The Vikings looked like they had taken a little bit of control of the football game when they scored that touchdown a couple of moments ago, but this score comes at 8:22 left in the fourth quarter. And this is a big 2-point conversion call right here. Brooks out of the shotgun, single receiver each way, 2 tight ends balanced. Brooks has it, running option, now running reverse, and wide open to the near side of the field will be the ball carrier in for the 2-point conversion, and the ball carrier is the wide receiver that made a catch a moment ago, Darian Conrad. He gets in for 2, and this game is tied with 8:22 left to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and unfortunately there, as we see that play develop, we were in man coverage, and we had our head turned away from the ball, and our secondary was just chasing their players. And, if we're in a zone situation or we happen to get our head around, we see that happening, and we probably prevent them from getting in the end zone there. But it's what it is now. It's a 0-0 game, and you have the opportunity to establish yourself and decide that, in fact, you are the best team in this game today.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the Vikings respond. Taylor Simmons putting the ball on the ground in that punt or return situation and knows it. No time to go back over it, like you said. There's nothing you can do about it, Corey, but it is about, when you have adversity, how you respond, and so we'll see a little test of the Viking character right now.
Yeah, and I think Taylor right now, he's thinking, okay, if I get this one, I'm going to hit this hole a little bit harder because we've had some opportunities and try to, make up for a miscue.
17-17 in the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. The kick is away. It's a sidewinding kick, and will hop out in front of Taylor Simmons, who will pick it up at around the 7-yard line. He looks middle return, now tries to reverse his field right side, and here comes a flag from the far side of the field as Simmons is down at the 11. There's a flag down at the 21-yard line, and Robert Cage, a defensive back from St. Joseph, Missouri, is taking a look around. He's the only player really in the vicinity of the flag, but from where it was thrown, you'd think blocking infraction against the Vikings.
Yeah, without it being a face mask or anything like that, there's no way this is ever on the kicking team.
Yeah. Blindside block against Valley City State, personal foul. So the Vikings are going to have to go a long way to reclaim the lead. They're going to start from their own 6-yard line. Well, new ball game here. 8:16 to go, fourth quarter. Turnovers, the great equalizer. The Vikings commit one. Dakota State capitalizes. And so now, how do the Vikings respond? 1st and 10 from their own 6. They need 94 yards to go back up by a touchdown with 8:16 left to go here in the fourth quarter. 3 receivers, twins to the left. Waiting for the snap is Noah Chambers, the freshman, now looking at having to lead his team onto the field to try to get down the field and score. Chambers reels in a snap. He's in trouble, barely got back, and now the ball came out again as Chambers stepped up in the pocket. Dakota State has it at the 1-yard line of the Vikings. Boy, oh boy. Twice in a row, the Vikings get bit. Once on punt return, now once on the offense, and from the 1, Dakota State's going to come onto the field and try to crack the tie in their favor.
And you can see Dakota State lining up that time. They just looked like they were going to pin their ears back and they were going to put the pressure on, and they did. They came with the linebackers. Rush got through, and we had talked a little bit earlier about making sure we secure that ball when we're taking off, and you know, unfortunately it happened in a really tough spot for us.
So 1st and goal for Dakota State from the Viking 1-yard line with 8:08 to go. Here in the fourth quarter, Trojans looking to capitalize on another turnover. Back-to-back turnovers by the Vikings. Brooks, left side guard, end zone, touchdown. And just like that, the Trojans will take a 23-17 lead. Corey, I mean, I really felt like after the touchdown by Austin Young, the Vikings were taking some control of the game, and I mean, they had the offense stopped, and then, man, those turnovers, you just can't overestimate how big they can be in a football game.
Yeah, it's a momentum turner for sure in that situation, and very rarely do you see that happen, but when it does happen, it's getting that swing to go back. And again, there's still 8 minutes left. Okay, now we can control our narrative here, and let's just put ourselves in a better field position.
Noah Karwacki on for the extra point. Snap is a good one. The hold is down. Kick is on its way. Good. 24-17, Dakota State by 7 with 8:05 left to go in the fourth quarter as we have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. The Vikings down 24-17 in the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
Ready for some football? Make sure you include quality meats and snacks from Valley Meat Supply. Valley Meat has all your favorites for the grill. Thick, juicy steaks, burger patties, brats, and all beef wieners. Valley Meat has you covered during the hunting and harvest season with sandwich meats and a variety of cheeses, beef sticks, and jerky. If you're tailgating, hunting, or harvesting, make it Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City.
Now back to Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Kick is away from Dakota State. It will go into the end zone, and the Vikings will take over on a touchback from the 25 as they trail now 24-17 to Dakota State with 8:05 left to go. Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you today from Locken Stadium. This game seemed to be in the Vikings' hands after a touchdown throw to Austin Young with 13:23 left of the fourth quarter, but a fumbled punt return attempt by Taylor Simmons set the Trojans up at the 7. Then the Trojans set up at the 1 after the Vikings end up fumbling on a play where they took over at their own 6 following a penalty. 2 touchdowns later, Vikings down 7. Tough situation.
Yeah, and we have just been snake bit the last 2 games that we've played against Dakota State that way with the turnovers.
Justice Bice will get the call on a stretch play left on 1st and 10. He'll run outside the 30 to the 31 for a gain of about 6. Good start to the drive for Valley City State. And there's an injured Trojan on the near side of the field. Cody Brown comes out with a stop for Dakota State, and he was helped out by Robert Cage out of the defensive secondary. But there is a Trojan down on the field on the Viking sideline. So a gain of about 6 for Justice Bice. In the meantime, 50 yards on the ground for Justice Bice unofficially today and 48 on the ground for Noah Chambers. And we'll see what happens here with the injury to Dakota State with 7:53 to go. It looks as though we're going to see Max Sonny, a linebacker, pretty good one as well, come up and will come off the field. And looks like he's being helped more just for like wooziness and balance rather than anything. Might have taken a headshot.
Yeah, he looks like he needs to go into protocol. He is not walking a straight line, and it looks like possibly his shoulder might be something that's causing that to happen.
So here comes a 2nd down and 4 for Valley City State with 7:53 to go. Sun beginning to set. Man, the temperature dropped rather quickly after it got behind the hills in the River Valley. Pair of receivers go each way for the Vikings, and Noah Chambers waiting for the shotgun snap. He's got it. Looks to his left now, looks over the middle, going to throw a deep ball downfield for Taylor Simmons, and Simmons had it go off his hands. He had the ball at the 35-yard line, and Simmons had a step, and he made that step happen at the end of the route. That ball was thrown perfectly by Noah Chambers, and Simmons kind of gator-armed it and came up a little short.
Yeah, that was a nice execution, getting your running back out of the backfield. First time that we've seen them run that guy vertical, and Taylor's got some speed to him, and he was able to run past that safety, and just unfortunately didn't extend the arms enough to haul that one in, which would have been a big gain.
This is a big 3rd down play for the Vikings. 3rd down and 4 for Valley City State from their own 31, trailing 24-17, halfway through the 4th. Quick throw over the middle, pass caught, 1st down, and then some across the 45 and up to the 49-yard line for Valley City State's Dominic Sotomayor. He'll spin his way officially to the 48, continue the drive for the Vikings. It's a Dairy Queen 1st down, a gain of 18 yards for Valley City State.
And we have our linebacker back in the game. It's the outside linebacker who would have been in coverage to that side, and I think just didn't probably read his keys very well. And nice execution, good protection, good throw, good catch, 1st down.
1st down and 10 for the Vikings from the 48. 3 receivers again. Twins to the near side of the field. Chambers bracketed by men in the backfield. He'll give to Bice looking for a lead block. He's got it, tries to tip his way through midfield, does, stacked up, just continues to drive a pile. He got as far as the 47, and the last yard, he was dragging 3 men with him, and one of them was Cody Brown. Brown's 270-pounder, hometown kid out of Madison, South Dakota for the Trojans, but a 5-yard pickup for Justice Bison. Corey, I'm seeing a little bit more of a sense of urgency now for this Viking team.
Yeah, and we're really doing a good job of getting what we call hat on every running play. We're just not continuing to establish that contact, and I think part of that is probably the emphasis the last time we had this crew. They called so many holding penalties that we're very cognizant of that, and we're making great contact, but we're a little afraid to be able to continue the establishment. 2nd down and 5. Pair of receivers each way. Again, Chambers out of the gun. Little 3-step back pedal. Steps up, throws near side. Pass caught along the sideline. Again, it's Sotomayor up to the 36-yard line. Another 1st down for the Vikings. That's going to be a pickup of 9 yards for Sotomayor. Give him 10. They're going to set him up at the 35. Another 1st down for Valley City State. And if you look at the defensive end, or the outside linebacker, I should say, from Dakota State here, he is really favoring that right side.
Yeah.
And he can't even swing that arm. He would not have been able to get that arm up in pass defense at all. And I hope that we see that, because I'm not sure that
he can't lift his arm.
No, he's effective out here at anything that he does. If we ran a screen out to him right now, he'd be no good.
1st and 10 for the Vikings from the 35. Chambers dropping back, running out of the pocket right side, looking downfield, going to take off and run, puts a move on, hit as he got to around the 32. It'll be a gain of about 3 yards, 2nd down and 7. I'm surprised, 51 yards of the ground now for Noah Chambers, but, you mentioned it, so I take a look at where he is. That's Max Sonny for Dakota State that was injured. He was looking to the sideline on that last play. I think he wanted to get off the field. I'm not sure why they sent him back out there.
Yeah, he is definitely either got a stinger or he's got something that's going on with the shoulder, but he's not out there right now.
So he came off after a 3-yard pickup for Noah Chambers. Bice up the middle on 2nd down. Tries to run out of a tackle. He can't get anywhere. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. That play was blown up front by J.J. Beck for the Trojans. So it'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Vikings. Clearly 4-down territory for Valley City State from the Trojan 31. But we are down to 4:40 to play in the 4th quarter. So time's a factor with the Trojans up 24-17 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard.
And again, 3rd down, we've got 6 yards to go here. This is 2 more downs to pick this up.
So 3rd down and a long 6 for Valley City State. Chambers out of the shotgun. He has Taylor Simmons in the backfield. Chambers dropping back, pressured, steps in, throws, and he threw it away. It's picked off on the far side of the field by Dakota State's Aiden Youngers. Mason Lloyd. Lloyd's on the far side return. Lloyd gets inside the Viking 40 and is down to the 37-yard line. A great read by Lloyd. Chambers thought he had something to work with over the left hook route, and Lloyd just went up and snared it. And so the Trojans will take over officially at the Viking 40. They'll say Lloyd stepped on the boundary. And now the Viking defense has to come up big and come up big in a hurry. Tough situation, Corey.
Yeah, and ideally, if we were to go back and look at this and probably see that linebacker go off injured, then we know we got a backup on that side. And we've had success coming down the field on that side. And, I think it's probably a side that's weakened for them. I would like to see us, continue there.
Viking defense needs something big. 4:12 left. The Vikings have all 3 timeouts, down 24-17. Can't allow points here. And the ball's at the Viking 40. Brooks takes the snap, looks to get rid of it. Ortman cutting back over the middle, shaking out of tackles, drives himself ahead to around the 33 for a gain of about 7. It's worth mentioning, Viking fans, that a stop here is not enough. You can't afford to give up 3 points or it becomes a 2-score game. So you need to get a stop without giving up any points at all. Clock to 3:50 and counting. 2nd down and 3 coming up for Dakota State. Vikings with all 3 of their timeouts. So the clock right now a concern, but if they can get the stop here and get the ball back, they would have plenty of time. But that clock's going to be down to about 3:25 to go before this snap takes place. Brooks waiting for the shotgun snap. The Vikings blitz the middle. Ball given away up the middle to Ortman and no place to go. Maybe a yard to around the 22, and Valley City State will use their first of their 3 timeouts.
In a tough situation here, too, I think, for Dakota State. If in looking at where they are, 3rd and 2, is this 4-down territory for them? Because if you kick and miss this, you're giving up some field position. So I'm thinking that
it's 4-down territory.
You're probably just going right here.
Yep, it's 4-down territory for Dakota State. I would think almost for surely. The only way that it's not 4-down territory is if they take some sort of quarterback sack on 3rd down that backs them up to 4th and 10, and then you're punting the football to try to pin the Vikings deep. But I'm with you, Corey. This is 4-down territory, so the Vikings need 2 big stops here. Boy, the review of this, the way that this thing has turned in the 4th quarter, 3 turnovers. And again, the great equalizer, the turnovers. One's on special teams, one's a fumble, one's a pick. So they found a way to turn it over in a lot of different phases. But you can do a lot of things right, and you turn the football over, and you can still be behind on the scoreboard when time runs out.
And I think that our key in the past when we've played Dakota State is if we've played sound football and took care of it, we have beat them because we've been the better team, and they would have the tendency to hurt themselves.
Sure.
The last this game and last year, the last game at Dakota State when we lost, it was just a factor of turning the ball over for touchdowns.
Conference opener today, 24-17 Trojans, 3:22 to play. 3rd and 2 Dakota State from the Viking 32. Clock down to 10 seconds on the play clock. Zach Brooks, the quarterback, attempting to change the play from behind the line of scrimmage. Here comes a blitz. It's Brooks himself. Brooks piled up. He's not going to get there. Ball came out at the end of the play. They're going to say he was down. And so the Vikings will see the ball at the 32. Dakota State will have 4th down. The Vikings use their 2nd timeout. And so now 4th down and 2. And Corey, you and I just had a conversation about, is it 4-down territory? Well, that play doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. So you wonder what's going to happen here as to whether or not they come out with a punt unit after the timeout after that situation where they got nothing on 3rd down and 2.
Well, if you punt this ball and it goes into the end zone, you're gaining 12 yards.
Sure.
If you kick it and you miss it, obviously the ball in college football stays where it's snapped from. And so I can't foresee anything. The only reason that you would maybe not go for it on 4th down here is that if you don't get it, you may feel like you turn some momentum back to the other team.
It's been a big part of the 4th quarter, though. Momentum's been a huge part of it. You can roll out and punt it and take what you can. You've done that before, right? The Vikings used to have that play. But, yeah, this is it's tough, and it's a 49-yard field goal attempt, right? So you wonder if they talk about that because, at 49 yards, is that makeable? They're practicing a hold on the far sideline right now.
Yeah, the long snapper is getting warmed up, so we'll keep our eye on him to see if he, in fact, comes onto the field, whether it's for the extra, the field goal or it's for the punt. But it looks like the offense is coming back on.
Yep. All right, so here comes the game for Valley City State, down to one timeout to go. Dakota State has a 4th and 2 from the Viking 32. The Vikings get a stop here. They've got a chance. If they don't get a stop, Dakota State can take a lot of time off the clock before they give it back. So it's 4th down and 2 Vikings. Don't jump early. Get the stop. Here it is. Zach Brooks out of the shotgun. He has a man to his left in the backfield. 2 tight ends to the right. Brooks changing the play. Valley City State will change their play as well. And now a timeout taken by Dakota State. So they got a good look at what the Vikings did defensively. And now Dakota State wants to talk about it. It'll be another mobility plus rehabilitation timeout as the Trojans will get together and talk things through.
Well, you're probably not going to agree with me, and a lot of people probably wouldn't here. But if I'm Dakota State right now, with this situation, knowing the momentum, if you don't get it, Valley's playing one-on-one on the outside. I think I throw this ball up, and I let my guy try to go get it. And if it gets picked off at the 5-yard line,
it's a punt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's the best punt that you have. Now, if I'm the defensive back, I got to know I'm not catching this. It's coming through my body into the ground.
Sure. No, Corey, I would agree with you wholeheartedly after you saw that. If you're caught between it's too long to kick a field goal, it's too short to punt it, and you didn't get any ground on 4th down and 2, why not take your shot at the end zone? Because taking your shot at 6 is just like taking your shot at 3. If you don't get it, you turn it over at the 32 or deeper than that. So, no, I'm with you on that. That's a sound way to go ahead and look at it. And, that might have been the plan for Dakota State the whole time. We need a chance to talk about it, go out, set up a play, and we'll call a timeout and talk about it some more.
We'll see how Valley City's playing this.
So here they come again out of the Trojan timeout. Again, 3:13 to play, 4th quarter. Vikings down 24-17. Dakota State 4th and 2 from the Viking 32, and Valley City State has only 1 timeout left to use. Zach Brooks out of the pistol, waiting for a shotgun snap, got it. Gives it away up the middle to Orthman, now takes it back and throws out of the backfield in the zone read, and he's got his tight end for a 1st down and more inside the 15 and down to the 11-yard line. It's complete to Derek Samantsma. It's the exact play you called in the flat. One-on-one coverage, except there was one on none because Samantsma was wide open. They've run it twice. 1st and 10 from the 12.
They had nothing to lose there. I just think that was a really heads-up play, and it requires us to be really disciplined with our eyes on defense and making sure we're accounting for that person. And he blocked down, showing run, and they did great play fakes.
So 1st and 10, clock running, 2:40 to go. The Vikings can stop it only once. It's from the Viking 12. Brooks out of the shotgun, waiting for the snap. Looks to give it away in the backfield. 2nd running back, Gavin Holland, cutting his way across the 10 to the 9. And the clock will run inside of 2 minutes before the next snap takes place. 2nd down and 7. So now if you start to play the percentages here, you take your timeout after a 3rd down stop. Conceivably, that 3rd down stop would be about another minute from now, so 1:05, and then they attempt a field goal attempt to try to put it away, and that's really where you're at right now.
Yeah, and the way things are going today, they'll attempt that field goal, and we'll block it and run it back to the 5, and then we'll have just exciting plays at the end.
Well, we could certainly hope, right? Overloaded line to the left. There's 4 tight ends on the left side of the line. Play action and roll to the near side for Brooks, and Brooks throws it underneath, and the pass incomplete. Now that's strange. That stops the clock with 1:42 to go in the 4th quarter. Here comes 3rd down, and you just gave the Vikings 40 seconds unless you just really believe that you're kicking 3 points here so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, they were definitely going, for the jugular there. The concern I had if I'm them is that the quarterback was almost in the grasp and is making a not a foundation throw.
Yeah. So here comes 3rd down. The ball is at the Viking 9. The clock is halted with 1:42 to go. And with a play clock at 5 seconds, Zach Brooks trying to put his team together. He's got it. Looks to get rid of it. Holland up the middle. Charges all the way down. There's a flag that comes in. And Holland is held up at the 2-yard line. Clock will stop with 1 minute, 30 seconds, 29 to go. And a flag came down. And did we see a holding penalty against Dakota State that would back them up to the 14? Or is it going against Valley City State?
They might be calling defensive holding.
They might be calling a face mask as well. It was right in the midst of the scrum where the play was coming to a conclusion, right at the 4. As it stands right now, I believe it's a first down for Dakota State, which would effectively end the football game. But we'll wait to see what the flag is going to be. They're picking it up, so let's see. Yeah, it's a face mask against Valley City State. And Dakota State's going to get out of here with a win. That's going to be first down and goal from the 1-yard line. Dakota State doesn't even have to take a shot at the end zone if they don't want to. The Vikings going to fall to 1-4, 0-1 in the league, and Dakota State's going to come on the road and beat the Vikings here at Locken Stadium this afternoon. And a bit of a collapse of the fourth quarter due to turnovers. We'll see now what happens as Zach Brooks will get under center. Overloaded with tight ends on the, well, actually 2 tight ends balanced, I guess you could say. Brooks looking to sneak his way in. Little lurch towards the second, and he's got it for the touchdown, and that'll make the score 30-17 Dakota State. Boy, oh boy. Corey, I really felt like the Vikings had this thing won when Austin Young caught that touchdown pass and went up 17-9, and all the momentum in the world was on the side of Valley City State, but fumbled punt return, fumble on the 1-yard line, interception, and there were 3 touchdowns that were scored by Dakota State on turnover. That's 22 points on turnovers for the Trojans in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go back to even before that. I mean, we probably need to look at the first half as as well. It's pretty easy for us to look at just what happened most recently,
Sure.
But I think you put yourself in that situation based upon what we do in the first half and how we execute as well, and did we leave some plays on the field, and it's a 4-quarter game, and we just can't rely on we're not the type right now that we can just rely on other teams just sitting down on us.
Yeah. 31-17 as the extra point kick is good. 1:06 left to go in the fourth quarter. Trojans lead it by that 14-point margin on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard. And so now, if you're thinking about maintaining any sort of chance of tying or winning the football game, you probably need a touchdown on special teams, a little onside kick, razzle-dazzle, another long play. I mean, it's never out of the realm, right? It's there, but.
Yeah, and I do like our onside kick. He does it very well.
Okay.
And so let's give that an opportunity. Let's find some things to have happen positively.
Well, absolutely. You know what? If we can just get the chance at it, that would be fine at this point. But right now we'll see the kickoff from Dakota State. This will be a deep end-over-end kick. Taylor Simmons backing up to the goal line. And Simmons looking for a chance to run with the football. Found a couple of blocks, tripped up at the 20 to the 23. And so with a minute and a second to go in the fourth quarter, the Vikings will come onto the field down 31-17. They get ready for Iowa Wesleyan to come to Locken Stadium next weekend, next Saturday afternoon. 1 o'clock start for that one. And meanwhile, this one's still stinging at this point, but we'll see what the Vikings do as far as the, I guess we'll call it the fast break offense here to see what they put onto the field.
Well, next week starts right now.
You could say something like that. Yeah, you don't want to leave 2 in a row at home. This will be the second loss consecutively for the Vikings here at Locken Stadium, dating back a few weeks with Dickinson State. Shotgun snap taken by Noah Chambers. Chambers stepping up, looking over the middle, pass caught for a first down for number 80, Jacob Gottenberg, who will make his first catch, and that will stop the clock to move the stick to the 38-yard line. And the Vikings will look to get going rather quickly here. They start rolling the clock with 51 seconds. Chambers looking to the sideline for the play. Justice By steps up behind him. About 7 seconds or 8 to run the next play. Chambers stepping up, flushed, rolling right side, being chased, throws off his back foot, throws the boundary, and the pass is caught for a first down at midfield. Pass caught by Ferris Amagamplay. or Amegankwe. I've been told that it's Amegankwe. I've been told that it's Amegankwe. We're kind of going back and forth as to how to pronounce that name. Now, Mark Potts tells me that Ferris says it's Amegankwe, or Amegankwe, and Coach McCulloch says it's Amegankwe, so we're trying to figure it out. Chambers stepping up in the pocket, throws it underneath, Bice with a catch to around the 40. Right at the first down marker, going to be enough with 26 seconds to go. The clock will stop at the 41. So the Vikings doing a good job of getting downfield, but time is running out. They do have one timeout left to use. It doesn't look like they're in a hurry to use that, though. Chambers out of the shotgun, takes the snap, dropping back. They need to score basically on this play if they've got a chance here. Chambers going to throw underneath. Bice has it, 35. Vikings won't take their timeout, and so
gotta kill it.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get up to the line to do that or not. Chambers waiting. They did get set. That was pretty efficient. Chambers will spike the ball with 2 seconds left to go in the game, and the Vikings will have one more chance to try to cut the lead. So, Corey Anderson, did you ever have any plays in your playbook that could score 14 at the same time? Probably not, huh? I don't think they draw them up that way.
No. Our plays in the playbook will try to not get to this point.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. There's no 5-run home runs either, right? That doesn't work. That type of thing.
Yes.
So one more snap for Noah Chambers. 4 receivers, 3 near side. 2 seconds left. Dropping back is Chambers, rolling to the right side, accounting for players, then throws it into the end zone. There's no one but Dakota State Trojans on that side of the field, and that is the way that the game is going to come to conclusion. I'm going to go ahead and read this. Is that Jim Dew? Is that the former Viking coach, Jim Dew, the Hall of Famer, multi-time Hall of Famer?
Yep.
He says that my preschool teacher, Mrs. Dew, I didn't know that Mrs. Dew is my preschool teacher. Said I sound okay. Well, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Dew. I appreciate that. You know, when I was up in Grand Forks, I had a chance to Danny Dew is up there as a teacher.
Danny Rocamp.
Yeah, Rocamp. Her kids coming through the Red River basketball program, so I had a chance to kind of keep track of the family that way.
And congratulations to Coach Dew. I do want to give a shout-out to him. He went into the Mayville State Coaches Hall of Fame last night.
Absolutely.
And so great honor for him and very much deserved.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was told that his roommate, who was a high school football coaching standout at Central Valley, the Valiant's head coach, if I'm not mistaken, was with him that night.
Well, I can tell you that Coach Bijou from Dickinson went in with him last night.
Oh, it was Bijou.
Yeah,
Okay.
They were best of friends and have been together since their Mayville State days.
Okay, I guess I had the wrong information. I thought it was actually it was the Vegan. I thought it was Randy Vegan. Yep, no, I had that incorrect. So Coach Bijou and Coach Dew both going into the Mayville State Hall of Fame. And they coached at Valley City State and Dickinson State.
Yes.
That's fun. It's a fun story.
They were best men in each other's weddings, and I think if the story is correct, they were both married on Mondays as well during the baseball season.
Okay, yeah, because that's what you do, right? You, when you got that job. Well, we'll come back with our post-game report in a couple of moments. This one was not the happy day that the Vikings were hoping for. 3 fourth-quarter turnovers lead to 22 Dakota State Trojan points, and they win it by a final score of 31-17. And our post-game report comes your way in just a couple of moments after a Mobility Plus rehabilitation timeout. We'll come back with our Ivy Real Estate Group player of the game as well. So we'll come back with a wrap-up next from Locken Stadium. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Viking football on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
Ivy Real Estate Group, your locally owned real estate brokerage, is cheering for the home team. Listen to KOVC for the Ivy Real Estate Group player of the game following every Valley City Highliner and VCSU Vikings game.
Don't leave your wiring to chance. Plug into your #1 electrical source, Highline Electric. They're the experts in residential, commercial, and industrial electrical work. No cutting corners at Highline Electric. Call 845-0731. They'll give you a free estimate before any work is done. Family owned since 1986 with Chad and Tracy Zahn. And I promise, the price won't shock you. Highline Electric in Valley City. Call 845-0731. Building a reputation of integrity and quality.
No matter where you live, you should have access to high-quality health care. Jamestown Regional Medical Center's orthopedic and sports medicine team offers care for hips, shoulders, knees, and toes. When an injury occurs, teams need care quickly. That's why the JRMC orthopedic team promises same-day and next-day appointments. Schedule direct at jrmcnd.com or call 952-4878.
Jamestown Regional Medical Center will never stop building for you.
Rambo, a proud sponsor and fan of Viking Athletics, has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you are ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
This is Amy Heim, nurse practitioner with Sanford Health. Well child checks are important visits for children of every age. Yearly well child checks are recommended for children 3 and older and more frequently for those younger than 3. It is at these visits that growth, development, and preventative care are addressed in an effort to keep children as healthy as possible. Recommended immunizations are also discussed and provided at these visits. Call 742-3267 to schedule at your local Sanford Health Clinic in Ellendale, Foreman, Gwinner, Lemoore, Lisbon, or Oaks.
Dropberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in their work, and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Dropberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Dropberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online at dropbergelectric.com.
Now back to Viking football on the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Postgame report this afternoon from Locken Stadium. The Vikings beaten today by Dakota State by a final score of 31-17. The Vikings will fall to 1-4 overall, 0-1 in NSAA play, and Dakota State will go to 1-1 in Dakota State, or rather in NSAA play, and they will improve to 3-3 overall. Ryan Cunningham, Corey Anderson with you for the broadcast here this afternoon, and things going the way sort of Valley City State, and really kind of a struggle all the way through 3 quarters, but the Vikings score early in the 4th quarter today to take a 17-9 lead, and boy, I'll tell you what, Dakota State's offense was bottled up extremely well in the second half, but when you give up short fields, sometimes the offense can take advantage. The Vikings drop a punt return, the Vikings fumble on the 1, and the Vikings throw an interception that set up Dakota State at around the Viking 40. And from there, Dakota State took over with 22 unanswered 4th quarter points, and they win it by a final score of 31-17. Corey, we can't say enough about the defensive effort today, particularly in the second half. I mean, Dakota State's offense was really a non-factor throughout the 3rd and most of the 4th quarter, but those turnovers gave them some new life, and they took advantage.
Yeah, we just started going, down the hill on our backs, and we couldn't do anything to recover. It just happened so fast. And those turnovers, they became a great equalizer, because I think that you talk to both teams today, the guys from Valley City are going, I don't know how we lost that one. And the guys from Dakota State are going, what just happened there? I mean, how
did we win this game?
Yeah, I mean, and because they can't feel great about, the things that they did on their side. So, those turnovers, hey, we got out of town with one there, and that just became an equalizer.
Yeah, the Vikings score with 13:23 left to go in the game on a pass to Austin Young with 13 yards, and the extra point kick made it 17-9 in favor of Valley City State, and then the Vikings get a stop, and so you're feeling really, really good about the direction things are going at that point, and then all of a sudden you end up in a situation where a fumbled punt return ends up setting up Dakota State short field, and Tice Ortman ends up scoring on that. Then another situation where the Vikings get forced back on a penalty from their own 6-yard line and a fumble on the 1, and Dakota State punches that in. And then the interception that was thrown near the end of the game by Noah Chambers, and the Trojans drive and score on that at the end of the game to win it by a final score of 31-17. Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings, joins us in our post-game report. And Coach, Corey and I were just talking about you score early in the 4th quarter, and boy, it really felt like your defense going to come on the field, you're going to get a stop, and I mean, that's the way things had gone, and you had control of the game. And turnovers the great equalizer. There were 3 really big ones there in the second half, late in the fourth quarter, and that kind of undid the effort today for the Vikings.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. You know, we know it's disappointing. It's hard to go and, you know, stand in front of a team that's worked extremely hard and, you know, do the things they've done to prepare for this moment. And hey, you know, like I said with Taylor, that kid works his butt off. He cares. Bad things happen, you know, but we also know we can't create those kind of turnovers, right? You just can't. Those things can't happen when you're playing close games, good games. You know, we can't do those types of things. So, you know, it's like I said, it felt like you're finally getting some pieces together, right? Made a big stop, you know, punt the ball back with whatever time was left in the fourth quarter. You know, you felt like you got it, you know, being 8 up, and the wheels came off. So, and we couldn't get them back on, and that's the frustrating part about it.
Let's talk about the defensive front four today. They were just outstanding. They harassed Zach Brooks all day. They made some big stops. Riley Gerhart was a man, but he had help all the way across the defensive line. Really, I thought that was the unit that stood out the best for you today.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Those guys did a heck of a job for us up front. They put a lot of pressure on there. They're talented young men. So, I mean, we were very impressed with what they did all day and their efforts and the things that they were doing. So, yeah, I mean, you couldn't – there's no question about, you know, how well those guys played up front for us. So, yeah, and you know, we're going to go back and look at film, and there's some pieces that they had that drive, you know, at the end of the second, you know, quarter there that, all right, you know, there's pieces that we got to fix on the back end too. So we allowed some plays that shouldn't have happened defensively that allowed them to get, you know, to move the football, and we got to look at, hey, what's going on here, right? We got to fix some of those explosive plays.
Today, and Corey pointed this out during the broadcast, so a lot of times you're facing a 3-man rush and there are 8 men dropping back in coverage, and it really gums up where you can throw the ball. I'm sure Dakota State maybe saw something about Noah Chambers being a young quarterback saying, okay, beat us that way. A lot of teams are going to do that, right? Yep. So I'm sure that's something you're going to have to worry about going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, and, you know, you can get frustrated. We threw that pick and we had to fumble in the end zone, but, you know, we're with a freshman quarterback who's learning every moment he's on the field, and there's a lot of things going on. He's got a lot of pressure. You know, we wish we wouldn't have had to put him in that situation where we got to do some of those things. But we did. We got to, you know, we put him in some some tougher situations, and we're going to go back and look at, you know, I couldn't tell you on the pick. Was it a bad, you know, what happened? What was a bad read? What was those things?
From here, it looked like just a really, really good play by their linebacker. Yeah, so I mean, it was a throw that maybe wasn't a covered part of the field, but he went up and made a play in the air, I thought.
So. You know, he like things are flying a million miles an hour around Noah Chambers, right? And that's I mean, we just know what we have and that piece of it, and the reality is he did some really good. There's some positive things you're seeing and things that he does for us. He gives us the best chance to win, and there's no question about it. And, you know, like I said, when we go back and look some of that stuff, some of those things are, here's things you can improve on, things we got to get better at, and he's got to learn from it. So, you know, none of us is patient. The older I get, I'm the less patient I am. I want to win. I want it to win this year. We have a lot of good kids. You know, it's just, you know, you see your seniors here that you know are really high quality kids, and that's the hard part for us is like, you know, this is the team we believe we could compete with the you know, championship this year, and you know, it's hard to swallow this one.
Yeah, well, let's look ahead to next week before we let you go. So Iowa Wesleyan comes in. First of all, I don't think it really matters who you're talking about right now because Waldorf and Mayville State played to a one-score game today. So the league is really balanced. We know that. We'll throw that out over here. But I think for your guys right now, that's 2 losses in a row at home. They don't want to lose 3 in a row at home. And it really becomes the crucial part of next week, doesn't it?
Yeah, they don't want to lose it all. And, you know, it's hard because they are, you know, they're, you know, they feel it too, right? They know the success and the things we want to have and the things that we've done here, and then when you're not doing the things to the level you want, I mean, it's frustrating. There's no question about it. And so we have to handle that, and you know, so our seniors got to come back tomorrow and wash off what everything happened and forget about it and let's move on. It's not easy, but that's the challenge for us all. And because it'll just keep rolling into the next game if we don't get that confidence, you know, those pieces back. So we're going to watch film and we're going to see some good things. Like, you know, I thought we played very well. There's some pieces that we can see that, you know, these are pretty good looking things that we did. And now it's just, like I said, pieces went bad, we just couldn't get it stopped. So
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, we'll let you go. Thank
appreciate
you so
it very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you
How
for being here.
did Corey Anderson do up here with you?
You know, here's the deal. I found out yesterday that I wasn't going to, with the people that were going to help out, they have other things going on. Of course they do, right? I mean, that's just the way that goes.
Yes.
And that's certainly nothing.
Yep.
They had plans.
Yep.
So I reached out to one person last night. Nope, got plans.
Yep.
And so I kind of got to today, and I was at my desk at the station putting things together. And I threw the Hail Mary text out to Corey Anderson and said, hey, can you do this? And I didn't hear back, but I knew the tailgating was going on. And I looked down as the pregame had started, and here comes a very determined Corey Anderson walking
awesome.
towards the steps. I could read it in his face. He's here to play.
Yep.
And he came up here and he put the headset on. And
did he when he put that headset on? Did he think it was connected to our offensive staff and he could make calls again? Is that was that
no? No, he didn't. No. But I'll tell you what, I appreciated him being here. And by the way, now I got your number from him.
Yeah.
He's the
Yes.
guy. So
You
if you're
blame
wondering
me for that.
who is it that gave this up today, it's Dennis McCulloch that told me how to get a hold of you, Corey. So
Yeah.
won't be the last time either.
Well,
I appreciate it.
And I just want to say why Coach Mack is still here is people got to understand we've been on a great run here for 1999 on.
Sure.
There hasn't been many situations like we don't know what to do right now, and there's not a lot of programs that can say that.
Yep.
And how we handle that, we will handle it with grace. It doesn't mean that salt doesn't taste crappy, but I know it'll be handled with grace, and I know that the things moving forward will be done correctly. And we are very fortunate to be in the situation we are with the kids that we have and the team that we have and the coaching staff that we have.
Oh, yeah.
And that can't be dismissed at all. We've been running with targets on our back for a lot of years.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Corey, I mean, I remember, coming here in 2001, you guys just won the league, right? Top 5 in the country, that kind of thing, got a home playoff game. The next year, you're 9-0 going into the game with the University of Mary. You end up going to Helena for, Carroll College. And it was about 4 or 5 years after that where we had 2 games out of the chute with St. Olaf and Concordia, and then we took on the top half of the league, and we were sitting in the middle of the season 0-5. And trying to scrap our way out of that too. So we've been on both ends of this before. And you know what? That year, Jamestown College came over and took us apart in the paint bucket game. And this team is nowhere near that right now. You're in every single one of these games you're playing right now.
And it's hard. And that's hard for the kids because they hear Coach Mack say, when we do our preparation right, when we do the little things right, you prepare for this moment, those things are going to pay off. And that's the hard part, I think, right now for our kids is like they're doing a lot. I mean, when we come to practice, they work extremely hard. They're bought in. They work hard in the meetings. That's the hard part about it. And what people don't see, what I see every day with our guys. And so those are the frustrating things. But like I said, got to wash it off and move on. And all we have is 5 games left, and it better start with Iowa Wesleyan, and they're going to be good. We know they're going to come in and give us a challenge. So we have to figure that piece out.
Coach Mack, thank you. Appreciate it. Dennis McCulloch joining us, the head coach of Valley City State University Viking football here today. Our final order of business is our Player of the Game Award, which is brought to you by Ivy Real Estate Group. They bring you a Player of the Game after every Viking and Highlander football game, and also after volleyball matches, basketball, that type of thing. So the Player of the Game brought to you by Ivy Real Estate Group. And again, you're tempted today, right, defensively, because that seemed to be where the playmakers were, Corey. Maybe a Riley Gerhardt again. I think we did that a few weeks ago, but dang it. You do it because, like you said, he snapped the extra points, he snapped the field goals, quarterback sack, stops on the run game, came back and stopped the guy 18 yards downfield. I mean, what can he do right now? He's kind of the heart and soul of the Viking team at this point.
Yeah,
so.
he is. And going back to what Coach Mack alluded to, if you do the things that you're supposed to do, this is what we do to be successful. And just like Riley, he does all those things. He's in tremendous shape. The one thing that about playing sports, it's not guaranteed, even if you do all the things you're supposed to do,
right,
that you're going to win. And that is what is great about it. That is what is hard about it. But the hard is what makes that fun, and that's what keeps us coming back. And I know Coach Mack is really hard on himself right now, but I guarantee that everybody that supports this program understands that he's producing kids and his coaches that win in life.
Oh, sure.
And that's the greatest one there is. And along the way, they win a lot of football games too.
Yep.
And, this ship will get righted. Dickinson has been on a hot streak, but, prior to the last 6 years, they went through 3 or 4 years there at a Hall of Fame coach's end of his career where it was really tough.
Sure.
And so it's we will maybe that success that we've had, we want that back, and we understand that you can't just take it for granted. And so sometimes the things just don't go your way.
Well, and Corey, not to extend your day a whole lot with just some reminiscing, but I can remember, the year before the Chad Leak year, right? So Chad Leak came back for his 6th year, and you won a conference title with him.
Yep.
And the year before that was supposed to be the year where Valley City State was gangbusters. They had every tool in the book. You're up on Black Hill State 14-0 and going down the field, and he breaks his collarbone. And you have an injury at quarterback. And from there, you turn things over to Brandon Albright, and then at the end of the season, Jason Belkey, it was his turn. And Chad came back for his 6th year. But then what that did, Jason Belkey went on to have a really, really good career, in part because a dude named Chauncey Calhoun came down the road and could catch anything you threw at him, right? But, I mean, sometimes really good things happen out of things like this. You got to have the faith in it and that type of thing. And that's just kind of where we are right now, right?
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything more about it.
We've been fortunate enough in the 19 years that I was there that every one of the kids that we had that was a multiple-year quarterback as a starter was an all-conference quarterback and also won a conference championship.
Yeah.
And we don't, but none of that happened in their first year.
Sure.
And so college football, unless you have an incredible kid and a great supporting cast that comes in as a freshman, it's still, that's the name of the game. That position is the name of the game. And, we ended up in a tough situation here, and we had a lot of inexperience there, and we're trying to, plant some seeds for the future, and that doesn't help our kids that are seniors. But it's really a quarterback-driven sport, and if you're solid and good in that position, it just happens to be worth a few points a game.
Yep, absolutely. And today, hey, this game was there were just a few turnovers down the stretch that turned out to be the difference in this one. Dakota State's been competitive in their non-conference season, but I think we come back to where we started here. Riley Gerhardt, Player of the Game award. Absolutely. When you're dealing with the types of things that we just described, here's a sophomore, right? A sophomore that's acting like an all-conference player right now on the defensive line, and he's given this team a chance to win whenever he goes out on the field. That's why, clearly, just he's the guy to focus in on for the Player of the Game.
Yeah, not just defensive line. Often you don't see your studs that are running down on kickoff either.
Right.
And he's probably the type of kid that if you pulled him off the kickoff, he would be mad.
That's a chance to play, another chance to be on the field, right?
And because tomorrow's not promised to any of us.
Sure, absolutely. Corey, thank you. I really appreciate you stepping in on short notice to take care of this for me. I really do. So thank you for being up here, man. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Corey Anderson joining us today for color commentary and analysis here at Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellig Field, where the Vikings are beaten by a final score of 31-17. Our next game broadcast for the Vikings will be next Saturday. Look for a 12:30 pregame report here at Locken Stadium as they host Iowa Wesleyan in Game 2 of the North Star Athletic Association season. And our next game broadcast all the way around will be on Tuesday. That'll be Highlander Volleyball when they're at home to take on the Wahpeton Huskies in Eastern Dakota Conference play. Look for that one to get started around 6:45 with our pregame report coming up on Tuesday night. Want to thank all the fine sponsors that make it possible. We certainly couldn't do it without you. Thank you for supporting us as we bring our local sports coverage to KOVC for the fans all throughout the region. Again, thank you to Viking fans and Highlander fans for having me back. This was my first full week back in Valley City, and it was a very good week to be with you, and I appreciate all of it. And right now, we just got to try to find a win for Valley City State, but a big one last night for Valley City High School as they knocked off Jamestown. So in the weekend, it's an overall split, and there's still some really good energy here in Valley City for the fall sports season. But this one goes the way of Dakota State today by a final score of 31-17. That'll do it for Viking football this afternoon. Do it for me this afternoon with you as well. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you Monday. This has been Viking football on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
You have been listening to Vikings football on KOVC. Vikings football is brought to you by Dairy Queen.